The Z to Z Podcast.
Just so you know, just so it's very clear to you right now, Fream, he is editing this podcast. He hears everything that you're saying.
Oh, we're still recording right now? Good morning, good evening, or good day, and welcome to the Z to Z Podcast, the home for Xbox achievement hunters and Gamerscore junkies. I'm your host, Brandon Fream, and thank you so much for listening. At Z to Z, we love gaming, and in particular, grabbing achievements and gaining Gamerscore. We do news, reviews, and interviews. If it's about achievements, we'll unlock it. You can find show notes for this show, as well as previous shows, on our website, z2z.com. This is episode 90. You can also contact us with questions and comments on Twitter, at ZZZEDTOZED, over at our forums, forum.z2z.com, or email us directly, contact@z2z.com. So tonight is I've got a show. We got Proulx, we've got Smrnov is in the house. Before we get over to them, because I got to go run somewhere quick, I'm going to kick the show over to them. But I wanted to get just a couple of items out of the way first, intro type things before they take over. I'll be back in a little bit, I promise. But we'll let them do their thing. The main items are, of course, we just did our August Patreon run, so thank you again so much for everybody who donated to the show. It is awesome. We'll be doing our run, or the winner of the draw once I confirm all the entries and things. So look for that. There'll be a prize coming your way. Also, again, August is over, so all those contests are closed out, so make sure you go into our forums, forum.z2z.com, and put that whatever you've done to complete or compete in any of those contests. Make sure you get those in there before by the time the show airs. Yeah, try to get in pretty quick so that I can lock things up for that. Our merchandise store is up and going, and so you can find links to that I think they're in our forums. They're definitely in my Discord chat, though. Discord.me/Freamhole. It's there's a link in the merch section there, the announcement section, for some shirts and mugs and cool stuff like that, and then you'll also find in our forums the Rocket League tournament. I want to announce that Rocket League tournament because we are starting to get enough numbers where we can start to put something together here. So given that this month is sports, we're going to try and do it in the month of September, probably toward the end of September, so we get enough time to coordinate everything. But the end of September, so any achievements that we earn in the tournament can count toward, certainly in your practicing in this month, can all count toward one of the contests for the Z2Z community. I also want to announce that on Mondays, I don't know if you guys have seen if you're following us on Twitter, but Damien has been, he's been very, very proficient. That's the word I'm looking for. At communicating with vendors and things and developers. And we have a bunch of game codes that they would love for us to help give away and share with our community. So things that you'll see here on Review Z, we'll also be running a Twitter giveaway for those. So if you're not following us on Twitter, we've got weekly giveaways. I think they go up Mondays usually. I don't know if Labor Day is going to be any different because there's a holiday here. It was a holiday in the United States, but every other Mondays, take a look at our Twitter and follow us so you can see when there's a giveaway drawing for a brand new game that's out there. Always worth your time for that because we're a pretty small community, so your odds are pretty darn good to get in on that. So definitely get on to us on Twitter. You can follow any of the hosts, but the Twitter handle at ZZZEDTOZED is the place to go. Finally, the other thing I want to mention is the great random to-do list. So the main contest is over. The fourth annual is over, and now we have switched it. It is no longer annual. It is now. We're doing seasonal, and so it's the 2017 third trimester, I think is what we're calling it. I don't know, but we're having a little mini campaign here, September through December. So it'll go up until January 1st. So whatever, December 31st, we're going to close this one out. But you got 4 months. That's 100 achievements, and we'll give out prizes each month. You get 25 achievements each month, and you can sign up at any time. We just got our new lists. Oh man, they're great. They're great. I'm really excited about being able to play this next iteration. So you get on. If you haven't, you can sign up in our forums. That'd be the easiest place to do it, and get on the spreadsheet, and you'll be able to participate real quick. The last thing I want to do is before I kick over is because I don't want to waste everyone's time, but I want to talk about my wins of the week. And I know Proulx is going to go into this more, but we finally successfully completed Titanfall. We did it. I put my foot in the ground, said it's got to be done by the end of August. And so I set a goal that I knew it would go later than August 31st because I play past midnight. So I said September 1st, and sure enough, September 1st, I think I finished at 12:42 at night or something, 12:24. In that range, I got my 2 legits and Gen 10s. Man, that feels good to get that done. I'm so grateful for all of the community members who helped with that boost. That was quite the grind, quite the ordeal. A lot of people got it done, and we're moving into Plants vs. Zombies now. We're going to take this week off, so by the time this show comes out, it'll be 2 days till that Thursday, but we're not doing it the upcoming Thursday. What is that? September 7th? 6th or 7th, whatever that Thursday is. We're going to take a week off, take a little break. It's the Thursday night football opener, so American football. And so, we're going to take some time off there. As far as kind of what I've been playing this last week, most of it, I had to go nuts on finishing up the gamertag challenges and things. And so I did a little ACA Neo Geo Last Resort. And, man, I just don't get those games. Apparently I'm just terrible at old-school arcade games there. I don't have the patience, but I got a few achievements in that. Nothing special to talk about there. A little Nutjitsu, played a little Borderlands, played a little Plague Inc., and but really the 3 things that I spent the most time in, I finished the story part of Nightmares of the Deep, The Cursed Heart. Did my playthrough with the hidden pictures, and because I had a random to-do list for the Mahjong game, where I needed to do a Mahjong game within 1 minute. So I was like, all right, well, I got to finish this playthrough because I'm not doing any Mahjong here. So I got all those achievements, and then it's like, all right, let's start up a new game, and presumably the first few Mahjong hidden object puzzles are probably the easiest, so I should probably get one of those within a minute. I ended up doing 5 Mahjong puzzles and could not beat any of them in a minute. It's not like moving that D-pad around is not easy. Now, some people have suggested that going and doing the hidden object part of it first, and then when you unlock that last one, there's like you find all of the items and then you have one item left. And that then you play Mahjong and just unlock the last one, that maybe you could do that. I'm nervous that that's not going to negate my an entire playthrough with doing all Mahjongs. So I'm trying to do Mahjong straight up from the beginning, unless someone wants to take the time and let me know if that works. But doesn't matter now, because that was last month's random to-do list. I don't have it on this month. I played Reagan Gorbachev, just the goofy top-down, essentially a twin-stick shooter. I had an easy one for getting a bunch of kills with the assault rifle. I ended up doing that with 4 of the weapons and just kind of playing through 10 levels or something real quick. But that game is right up my alley. I'm looking forward to going back to that. And then the last game that I put a lot of time into, obviously apart from Titanfall, was Zombie, Ubisoft's Zombie, the London-based survival game. And man, that game is like pretty intense. If you let yourself be immersed into that. Now I put it on casual, and so I wasn't like super nervous about getting bit or attacked or anything, but it's pretty darn dark and you can't really see anything, and I had my volume down a little too low, even though I had headphones on, because I needed to hear if my kids were awake or whatnot. But Man, I got into it, and it was a little unnerving. Especially when like if your dude dies, like you have to then run back and fight off yourself as a zombie and go pick up your backpack. So I'm certainly trying not to die. But I knew I needed to get just into the supermarket for my random to-do list and find a Molotov cocktail. So I ran to that, did that first couple of chapters or whatever the quests were, and then moved on to something else. But I was intrigued. Again, I'm kind of a scaredy cat, so I don't know, how deep I want to get into this. Like, those games always kind of get me a little nervous, but that was pretty fun. I actually had a great random to-do list month. I finished with 12. I'm pretty happy about that, but I had my highest points that I've ever had, like 2,400 points or something. I've never got that high. So, personal challenges there. But if you haven't signed up for the new random to-do list, man, you are missing out. It is so much fun. It is just absolutely wonderful. But, okay, enough of me rambling on about what's going on there. I need to head off real quick. I promise I'll be back in a little bit, but I want to kick it over to the wonderful Smrnov and the totally adequate Proulx. So, here you go.
All right, thank you, Fream, for what I'm sure is going to be a very flattering and kind intro. So we have kind of an interesting situation here this week. We have a bit of musical chairs going on for the hosts.
Really?
So, yeah, believe it or not, we're actually, I'm not even sure who exactly is showing up. So who knows? There could be just random people just popping in here. No, that's not going to be the case. But joining me here right now, we have Damien. How are you doing, Damien?
Pretty good, but I'm playing this on mute, so I don't know when the music starts or stops.
That's tricky.
It is.
And also joining us again, we have Smrnov. Steven, how are you doing this evening? Thanks for joining us again. So, guys, well, let's just get into it. Like I said, Fream is gonna show up later on in the show. We also might have a little surprise appearance from Randy. Possibly. We'll see how things go. Although I'm sure he's not very happy about the pizza situation, which we will talk about a little
there's
bit later.
irony right there, right?
Yeah.
He's going to be rainy, drove all the way down there.
Believe it or not, yeah, I know. But like I said, we will talk about that later. But so I think we should just jump right in and let's start on a positive note and do win of the week. And I will go first because this is something has been months in the making. And finally, Fream set the hard date, the hard ending to our Titanfall sessions a couple of weeks ago here on the air, and we're done. Now, not everybody's done. There are a few people that have just some odds and ends to do still, but the Thursday Titanfall session is now completely over, and I am done with the game. So that is my win of the week because we have been working on that since, I believe, November, which is crazy. And, sometimes these things take a little... Well, we had such a big group, and I'm not going to make excuses, but it's done, and it felt so good to get that completion last night. There were a couple of us that did it, and, man, what a fun game. There are people talking about doing the 360 version, though, and that is wild to me because the last thing I want to do right now is play more Titanfall.
Oh, I need to go and finish the Xbox One version. You think the community will go start it up all over again just for me?
Absolutely. I am pretty sure 3 or 4 of the members deleted it immediately. So it may be, which actually reminds me, and it's a great thing for me to call these people out. There were a lot of people that stuck around way past when they had finished the game and came back and helped us all out. I'm not going to name everybody because I'll forget people, so I'm not going to do it. But thank you, all of you who did that. I think just personally for me, as well as for the whole group of us. And I also, of course, a special thank you to Matriarch, who was really the architect whenever she was around, and that was almost every single time. And I couldn't have done it without these people. And so thank you for helping. We are now moving on to Plants versus Zombies, Garden Warfare. It's kind of going to be a split group. We were doing the first one, and some people are doing the 360 version, some people are doing the one version. So if you're interested at all, head over to the Discord chat and pop over there. I think we're going to take a little 1 week kind of a break after Titanfall since it took so long. But after that, we'll get right into it. So that is my win of the week.
Cool.
Damien, what about you? Anything really exciting? Did you finish Titanfall 2? I didn't see it. So
yeah, no, I didn't have that though. I do have Garden Warfare 1 that I never started, so maybe I'll join into a community thing. No, I guess so. Technically, it's a little over a week. It's like a week and 2 days, but I hit my 500,000 Gamerscore, and I did it with 500,000 in GTA 4 PC because I had already unlocked it on the Xbox 360. So I had coordinated it out perfectly, and so. Again, for me, at least, because I did it in about 9 years. So 50,000 gamer score a year, puts you up. You're like, okay, 500,000. Wow, do I really want to go for the 1 million? Though there's people here that have, so definitely it's doable. But you're going, that's another 9 years at the rate I play, and now with 2 kids, as people know. So really, what for me it was that okay, I don't want to stop gaming, but that was okay. Now that I've hit that arbitrary milestone, what have I always kind of played for? And for me, it's always been that OCD about completion and getting all of the achievements. That was what I loved about achievements at the beginning. It gave me a sense of I played through a game to a finite sense of okay, I did what the developers expected me to do to kind of check everything off. That's how I always play games, even back in the days of the NES and the Atari 2600. It's like to do adventure, you get the key and all that. That's how you beat it. So with that, I've now started going back into my backlog because I'm still going to start new games because of Reviews Ed. But so I started through a bunch of the completions that have been sitting there, and I did Costume Quest this week. So not any one achievement in Costume Quest, but just the game. Completed it this week, and it was one of those things where I went back, just played an arcade game because it's not a ton of gamer score anymore, but it's like, wow, this was a really cool game. Now I feel I can go and play the Costume Quest 2. That was Games with Gold because, I'm not worried as much about needing to make a certain score per week to, get to that milestone. So it's like, you know what? I started this game at one point. I dove it. Let's play it. And, playing games for fun and for my sense of, OCD completion, but not chasing score. So that was kind of my win of the week. It was nice to, get back to gaming for the fun of gaming.
Do you think that is something that will last? Do you think that, because you're kind of describing it as this kind of epiphany, do you think that you will now, your habits will change significantly, or do you think this is more of a temporary thing?
Well, no, I haven't really strayed too much from my, core. I've always liked to complete games. I've always had a high completion percentage, over 75, but really it's my completed game counts. I'm over 640 completed games. So one of the things I want to do is to have under 300 started games that I haven't completed on my tag, because that's just a lot of stuff it's sitting there. We'll go over it later in the show when I record it later. About Eventide, I played through the entire game, except I didn't do it in one sitting. So the achievement to go through both arcs of decisions didn't unlock. So I literally have to play the game twice again in one sitting. And just with the rate of you play everything else, I forget to do that. But it's just it's that one thing that's sitting there. And there's so many games on my tag where there's 1 or 2 or 3 things that I got 80% of the way to doing, and I just got sidetracked, and so now, because I'm not worried about, getting to that milestone and the next real milestone of, once you get to 500,000, 600,000 is great, but really it's 1 million. So you're like, it's so far off. What's the rush? So it's more of a kind of a shifting of just priorities. Now it's more about completing things than getting the score. Yeah, well, before it would kind of the balance, but I was a lot more quick to going, okay, let's go start, Dead Rising or Walking Dead, Windows 10, so I can do a third walkthrough of the same thing just because. Oh, I have a lot to talk about that a little bit later in the show. Well, I'm going to bounce this question over to you, Stephen, then. Do you think that there would be a number for you that would, because obviously you're pretty high up there, I'd say, roughly in the top percentages. Is there a number for you that you would feel that kind of
No, because I already play the way I want to play. I already complete games. I mean, that's the gamer score happens because I finish games. That's the difference between me and a lot of other higher gamer score guys, right? I mean, I know Cut the Course does, but he doesn't always do some of the longer stuff that I would do that people think is crazy, right? So yeah, I mean, I think nothing's likely to change what I'm doing just by virtue of the fact I'm already doing what I want to be doing. Mm-hmm. So for me, that's kind of, I'm already at that point, right? I was doing more just Gamerscore for Gamerscore when I was doing some of the competitions and early things early on. But even early on, I would still go back and finish the games that I played. I mean, I did Graw before Graw was, what it is now. But it took me less than it takes people now. But I still did it when it was a long, grindy thing that not a lot of people did, right? And before leaderboards were getting blocked up and things like that. So... I've always kind of taken the approach that I'm going to finish everything I've started, to the fact that, servers are still up and things like that. So for me, that's kind of, the gamer score comes because I finish my games.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's kind of a really neat place that you're in, Damien, that it's, you just kind of hit this point and you're like, okay, like you said, it hasn't changed it that much, but it is just a slight shift in where your attitude is, and I don't know where that would be for me, because I do kind of juggle between just the sheer points of it, or the completion percentage, or chasing down specific series or something like. I do feel like I have like a lot of different priorities, the boosting sessions, stuff like that. So I wonder where I would have to be, and I literally have no idea. I've never thought of this, but where would be a good place for me to kind of reevaluate exactly how my gaming habits are and where I want them to go. I'm sure I'll hit that point at some point, but it's neat that you're kind of at that position now.
Yeah, and I think what really changed my dynamic too, and is the second kid, because it does. I kind of had that luxury, kind of like other people. Like I can game during work because I work from home a lot of times. So if I'm on a conference call or doing something, I can idly grind something on the other side. I'm probably not very interesting to watch on a stream, because you'll watch a pause screen for 20 minutes because I got drug off to do something. But, after work, I'm upstairs playing with the kids and all that kind of stuff, and then I get like an hour or two at night, and then I got to go to bed. I'm like, okay, do I want to spend my time finishing something I started, or do I want to start something new and go through? So I think the only real shift to me is just that, let's go back to finishing what I've started, because I hate leaving things undone. But just Evan's point, you still get the score if you're going and you just do this regularly, and this is what you play, and you go towards just completing things, because 1,000 gamer score per game and play enough games, bound to get a lot of score.
You'll get up there, either way. All right, cool. What was your win of the week? Did you accomplish anything super awesome, Steven?
Well, I was just going to say, some people on the podcast have done Titanfall on both 360 and 1 already.
All right. Okay. It took me 9 months to complete that stupid game, and you have them both done. Okay, we get it. All right.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's just the completion milestone count. I mean, I think that's what I've always said is my win of the week. I think this week I crossed the 1760 completed games mark.
Wow.
So that's always a good thing.
Are you feeling the itch for 2000? I mean, obviously you're always trying to get higher, but
I think the next milestone is going to be the 3000 TA for me. 3 million TA for me, because that's not too far in the distant future. I don't know if I'll get to 2000 games. Yeah, I should get there before I hit the 2 million gamer score too. So yeah, that's probably the next thing. No, I mean, like I said, I kind of. The only thing that I have driving me right now is kind of my self-imposed goals of either, monthly gamer score that I'm kind of trying to keep on pace with, which I think I've talked about before, or, just the general finishing what I started, trying to get 360 stuff done. Sorcerer's goal.
Well, yeah. Something you have to keep an eye on quite frequently these days, it seems like. All right, cool. Well, that's great. I think we should then move on now to just kind of a general what we've been playing. And I think I'll start with you, Damien. I know you've just mentioned Costume Quest, and there was a little bit of talk about a brand new brand spanking new Windows 10 game before the show.
Yeah, that's what I've been playing today. I I went on TA. So what was today was training day. We're now going to be a Microsoft Dynamics shop for our CRM. So I had to sit through like 2 hours of training going over. I've been using Salesforce for 2 years, and you're going, how is this any whatever, 2 hours of my life. There it goes. Like, at least it was a meeting. Could have been an email. I'm just trying to find the name. So it's War Planet Online Global Conquest from Gameloft. I think it's reskinned World at War. Are they the ones that did World at War?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think they pretty much cut and paste the graphics from the.
Probably. Microtransaction heaven, but I think you can do it all without microtransactions. I've already done 9 out of the 10 achievement or whatever. I think I have 1 achievement left, but the last achievement to get is going to be a grind fest. But it's not bad. It's just an online resource management game. I did finish Dead Rising 2 actually with ZZ Urban Spaceman this morning at Case West. I saw that I had that on my 360, and that was the one version. I had Korean done in Japanese, but I did not have the US version. So I was like, I should probably go do that one. So I got through all of it, and then I was right at the end. And I got all the survivors, the PP and everything in the on my one playthrough. So I was just going, oh, well, I should just at least beat the last boss with somebody so I don't have to go do the boss fight twice. So Tarragon was on this morning, and because it's backwards compat, he was like, well, I don't have my 360 with me. And I'm like, well, it's backwards compatible. Fire up the one. So I did some Dead Rising 2 Case West, which I'm also doing Dead Rising 2 Xbox One. So I've been having a lot of Dead Rising for the end of zombie month. So a lot of zombie killing. Frank West, Chuck Green, TIR. It's money that Chuck can use. Or Frank, no. Yeah, TIR. It's money that Chuck can use. A lot of zombies. A lot of zombie killing. But it's good times. That's what I've been doing this week. Killing zombies.
Nice. Well, that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, and playing that through that clicker Eventide. You'll get 10 minutes of me ranting about that glitch achievement. So, but
wait. What achievement?
In Eventide 2, you have to play through the game twice because thank God they don't have many games in this one. It's just the click. It's just the go through and do the puzzles and the find stuff. However, you have to make these choices, air quotes, choices, in the game. And there's either you go, basically it's like a moral choice, a good choice or a bad choice. And so there's one achievement for having gone through the game and making all the opposite choices. And it's glitched. So you have to do both arcs in the same sitting. If you quit out of the game and start up again, or if you beat the game and quit and then you start,
it doesn't track. Yeah.
Correct. You have to do it without turning off. Well, I guess you could turn off your console. I guess you just could never quit the game and go launch another game. You would have always had to have the game running, even if you put your Xbox in standby. So I get to play through both games. Maybe a third time, or I might have to do 4. I don't know yet. I'll probably have to do 4 because I loaded Battle Ages. So it's probably back to a 0 counter. I mean, did you do it, Steven?
Yeah, I did that one. Yeah. Yeah, it didn't show progress, if I recall. So it won't go 50-0, 50-0. Just you have to do them both in one sitting, and that's it.
Ugh.
Okay, well, probably never going to play that game.
No, it's a great... Right. If you like the hidden object games and stuff, you should play it, because it's a pretty easy 1,000. It's just you got to do it in one go. You can leave it paused, walk away, or whatever, but you just can't launch.
Can you... Okay, so you can leave it in the resume state, so you can go into sleep state as well?
Yeah,
that wouldn't be a problem. Okay, yeah. That's no problem.
I didn't do that, but yeah, I'm sure you could. As long as you just keep it off order.
Well, what about you, Stephen? What have you been up to this week?
I completed about 7 games this week, so I don't know if there's any one thing in particular. I mean, I was away on a cruise, so I did a ton of Windows Phone playing while I was in the Caribbean, and then I got back and knocked off some games that had come out in the meantime. Some Mac and Neo Geos. I did What Remains of Edith Finch. I did Black the Fall. I got one version of AirMech done on the 360 AirMech Arena, and I'm just starting that on the one. now as well. So, and I finished off Front Mission Evolved, which I had done all the long grindy online stuff for, and decided to go back and mop up the easy single player stuff that I know.
Are you getting sick of the ACA stuff, or are you loving it?
Oh, I don't like it at all. I mean, it's
do you actually have a Neo Geo as well? And then
no, I'm not some sort of closet Neo Geo fan who just thinks this is awesome to be having them back. But my biggest complaint with them is that it's just so random. I mean, there's something you can do that should work, fairly regularly, but you have to get the one run where all the guys don't counter that move or whatever the case may be, to get the scores targets that they've set out, right? That's kind of what I don't like about them, is just that aspect of it. That and the fact when you consider all in at $10 a pop, when you get to 60 games, it's not going to be a cheap series completion, right?
No, it's not. My biggest complaint, which you didn't even mention in your list of complaints there, but I can't believe this, is how terrible the emulation is. Like,
oh yeah, how it locks up when you get an achievement.
Awful. It's like it freezes up. These games are like 25 years old, and there's nothing happening, and it just halts. It's terrible. I get so nervous that something is going to glitch, and I'm never going to get this achievement or something. But I can't. It's like, okay, at this point they have to be making money. Hire a software engineer, because somebody's not doing their job. Just somebody at this point can fix this. And
hire somebody. They've obviously made enough money not doing that.
Why would they bother? Yeah, the formula works.
Man, I've only played like 3 or 4 of them, and one of them I couldn't get the high score for one of the modes, and I got real mad, and I don't think I'll go back for a while. But they are really easy, so it's tough. It's tough to avoid that temptation. So I mentioned earlier that I had some... basically, this week has been kind of a Telltale type game of a week for me. I haven't really done much else. I have played Walking Dead Season 2, which I completed. Another stack of that. Walking Dead Michonne, which I just completed today. Another stack of that. Working on my first playthrough of New Frontier, which is interesting.
Quick question. Bring back Michonne, because I remember I played through it the one version. Was there that much of a... I remember, at least on the first Walking Dead, it felt like there was kind of a second arc that you could, do. Is there really a second arc in Michonne? Is there really any where your choices make that much of a difference in the game, or is it really just the same exact thing?
So I actually just played through Michonne for the first time about, 2 weeks ago, I think. And so that's still fresh in my mind. And I deliberately chose different choices. I think I started it yesterday and finished it today, because it's very short. It's the shortest one by far. I would say that there are significant differences. It's not wildly different. I think people have weird expectations for these games, like you're going to end up in like a crazily different situation. But the second time through, I ended the game with I think 3 characters either missing or there based on the choices that I made. But it still ended the same kind of way. So I do feel like you will get a different experience, because I deliberately chose the alternate path that I hadn't chosen before. But it's not incredibly massively different. Certain things will happen. Certain characters will kind of affect things in a slightly different way. But it's just the way that, I don't know, I guess if you were comparing it to The Walking Dead Season 1, I would say it's right on par. It seemed to me to be right on par. Again, it's quite a bit of a more condensed experience. So maybe it doesn't feel that impactful when because it's 3 chapters and you're done. But I felt as far as the choices you make go, I would say that they're pretty close. Now, I don't know that about New Frontier, because this is actually my first playthrough of New Frontier. So once I start that on the one, because I'm playing the Windows 10 version right now, but I'll let you know. Speaking of, I also started Batman Season 2, The Enemy Within, and I didn't. Yes, I think I'm 1 chapter left, and I'm really liking it, because I loved Batman Season 1. It's been my favorite Telltale since Borderlands, and I'm really enjoying it. So, yay, and I'm excited to continue playing that. Also started up Life is Strange, the new one, which is the prequel to the other Life is Strange. Now, there's been a lot of Life is Strange talk on the podcast before, and people love this game, the original game. I'm about two chapters or 3 chapters into this 5-6 chapter episode, and I will say it's good. It's not the same level of good as Life is Strange, the original. I don't know. Have you guys, either of you, started Life is Strange?
I haven't started the new one. My daughter did, because she's a huge fan of the series. She's like angsty teenager and artistic, so it's her bread and butter for her. Exactly. She's but no. I asked her how she was liking it, and she said it was good. So she does notice the character voice difference.
And I think it's almost every character that I've encountered that I've remembered. I'd have to go back and look, and I haven't done that yet. Has a different voice. I mean, I know obviously the main character does, who's Chloe from the first. Is it Chloe? Yeah, from the first game, has a different voice. But her stepfather's in the game, and I can swear this is like a totally new voice as well. So it is kind of a weird situation, but the first Life is Strange was so unique and interesting because of the kind of story elements that it had going for this. It's not like that. It's more of just at least of course so far. Remember, I'm only in the first bit here, and I'm not giving spoilers away. I won't do that, obviously. It feels much more. It's much more like a personal, smaller story. And of course, this happens all before the events of Life is Strange, so nothing crazy is happening yet. So it's kind of not as interesting or as intriguing. But I'm very early on, and I expect things to change. So some interesting mechanics. There's a mechanic in the game where essentially when you need to argue your way through a situation, there's this yelling at people mechanic, and you have to pick up on clues that they're saying in order to insult them or kind of strong arm your way into getting what you want out of them, which is interesting. We'll see how long that lasts or the kind of legs it has, but so far pretty good, and we'll see where it goes. Other than that, I said played some Titanfall, played some Halo Reach and Clicker Heroes, and other than that, not much for me. So okay, so let's move on. Damien, you listened to last week's show, and
I listened to all of them.
Well, that's true. We all do. Everybody here and that's listening listens to every show. Everybody. So, but you had a specific bone to pick with a certain question that we got asked last week, and I'm going to let you go because it seems like a little bit of a mini rant or just an issue, I guess, with what was going on. So I'll just let you go for it.
Yeah. So when people, so I work for an IT company, and a lot of what we talk about is social engineering and things that people do. You know, this is like badge riding, right? When somebody comes and like, oh, I'll hold the door open for you, and don't let people badge into a room. You don't know if the person behind you sometimes might not have a badge. So when they go, and the big thing on social media is people go like, oh, hey, your stripper name, give us your name of your first pet and the street you grew up on. Well, those are the same questions that are asked usually to, hey, you forgot your password. Well, that's okay. What's your dog? You use your dog's first name, or the first pet name is like that password reminder. So when when the host are sitting there just giving out that information, just like, oh yeah, this stuff's fun. You're like, no, that's the entire problem with these things is it's giving out that personal identifying information, and it's usually giving it out on a social media where they already know your name, they know your email address, so you've basically just given them all the other information they need. It's like, hey, make the best Xbox Live gamer tag, get the last 4 digits of your social security number, your mother's maiden name, and the last four digits of the most identifying phone number you have, and post that on your Facebook page. So, I mean, again, Randy didn't say it. Randy's like, that's way too personally identifying. I was like, cheers for Randy for not saying it. But I was just like, why do you guys fall for this? Don't give out that information.
2 things here. First of all, I am one of those hosts that gave out that information. But I also work in IT, and I will tell you that information will not get you anywhere in any of my accounts. I had actually never had heard this. I don't know if this is tinfoil. It makes sense that that this information is actually very similar to the information that, of course, they ask you for password recovery. I never actually heard the idea that was deliberately put there by people, but by social engineering. But it makes sense. I don't have any problem with that idea. But yes, good security is very good, and I'm not concerned. But I get what you're saying. So just out of this is off topic, real quick. What is your mother's maiden name? If you want to join. Kidding, of course. So yes, don't give away personal information, people, especially if you're a podcast host. You idiots. Let's move on. So, guys, here we go. Crunchflake asks, looking at the Marvel AAA games announcement earlier this year, what titles do you want to see on the Xbox? I assume he means what Marvel titles would you want to see on the Xbox? And he says he would like an Iron Man first-person shooter / RPG / action game.
Okay. I was never a huge Iron Man fan. Just when I was really... I was a Marvel over DC back in the 90s when I collected comics. So that was like the Jim Lee years doing Uncanny X-Men. Todd McFarlane still doing, Amazing Spider-Man, right around that time of Image. So I was always a huge Uncanny X-Men fan and some X Factor. I love Deadpool. I thought Deadpool still to this day, hands down, was the best Marvel comic character game release. I would like to see a Cable in the vein of that.
Okay.
Or a Gambit. Like a Gambit via the Uncanny X-Men, that Jim Lee years. Not the Gambit that was in that godforsaken... What piece of garbage was that? Was he in... Not the Weapon X.
It was Origins, X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh, it was awful. That was...
Yep.
Oh, that was awful. Awful Gambit. That was just...
There was also a terrible version of Deadpool in that movie, played by Ryan Reynolds.
But that got him in the door for the movie, so you have to forgive him that.
He redeemed himself. There is redemption, and I will give him redemption for that. But Gambit never got redeemed, and I always thought Gambit... back in the day was the coolest character just for how his attitude and things was. I think it could be something that could be brought. I would really like to see it.
Do you have any favorites, Steven?
I read the question and I was thinking more of just what games I'd like to see on the console. So I wasn't really going from the Xbox standpoint.
I actually extrapolated. But if you have any other answers, go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking. I don't know if you guys know this. It was a PC game. It's called Heroes of Might and Magic. It's kind of a turn-based strategy game. I think something like that would be great on a console. I like my turn-based. I like my strategy. Not everything needs to be real-time click as fast as you can, in my opinion. So that would be something that I wouldn't mind seeing on the console in general. So the Heroes of Might and Magic series, maybe, or something like that. That's
okay. So I actually, this is going to be a bit of a tangent, but I'd like to hear your guys' opinions on this. So we've heard that there's going to be keyboard and mouse support coming to the Xbox. How do you guys feel about that?
I don't think it'll be in game much. I think they're talking more about the dashboard, your browser. I think
you
games.
Think so?
I think it'll be a slow uptick on games if it's there at all. That's my take. I don't think they're going to go back and retweak all the turning speeds and everything that it would need to do to have somebody on a keyboard and mouse competing against somebody on a controller. But that's my 2 cents.
I hope you're right. I wouldn't want to see. I wouldn't want to see like some fragmentation of the player base. For competitive games, obviously that's a problem. I like consoles because of the controller, and I don't need that. But on the other hand, there are certain games that would probably benefit from it as well. So
Neverwinter, if you're talking, just having the mouse itself, but the keyboard itself, right, is great for. I mean, I use a chat pad sometimes in Neverwinter to text people when you're making trade deals or something like that.
Can't you just talk to them? I mean,
not if you're not in the same group or anything like that, or they're spamming the chat channels and things like that, and you just want to say, meet here, trade this. Okay, good. I don't know. I think I've said this before, but I don't really play with the headset ever, simply because I'm usually talking to people around me in the house or, again, multitasking. So it's not something I generally tend to do. So for those people who keep sending me random party or chat invites, you can keep sending them, but I'm not going to ever accept them.
Nothing personal. It's just not how you
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, no. So for me, the keyboard option is good for that. But yeah, I think it would take a lot of tweaking, and only specific games, probably that are more UWP based, will support mouse control for.
Well, I wonder especially with Scorpio, and let's say this does become kind of the last of the consoles, right? Because we really are getting to that rate where it seems consoles are refreshing more frequently, and games, especially with UWP being ported, being Windows 10, running on Xbox, it might, you suddenly have that support, because I think kind of to that point, there's going to be certain games, I think, that if it was a game that was developed for PC, why couldn't it just run on the Scorpio, and you don't even need to set it up to run via controller? So there might be just games coming out that are keyboard mouse based.
That would be fine, I guess. I worry about, I don't know, it seems so clumsy and awkward to have a keyboard and mouse, on your couch or whatever. But, if some people want it, that's fine.
Well, I don't think it means you have to use it, though. It's just it's like when people thought that touch was going to do away with mouse. It's like, no, you'll still have, when you need mice for certain things, there's something for the accuracy that they're good at. But, touch is, indicative for other things, right? You don't forego one just to have the other. It's just, think of it as another tool in your tool chest. Yeah.
I remember years ago playing Final Fantasy XI on a PlayStation 2 with a keyboard and a controller, if I remember correctly. And it was really cumbersome and awkward, but I'm sure things are much better now. Anyways, so that was a little off topic. But to answer the actual question, which I thought were specific to Marvel, so I'm going to go with that. And I'm going to just say, please, anything Marvel, send our way. He mentioned an Iron Man first-person shooter, which I don't know if that would work, because you'd be moving pretty quickly. I don't know. What other games do you fly in first person? I'm sure there's a zillion, but I can't think of any right now.
Thor? He flies. Wait. Oh,
yeah, but
that's
third person, yeah.
Yeah, we're not in first person. Because he said his question, he said that he would want an Iron Man first person shooter role playing game action. Oh, never mind. You know what? I might be misreading the question, so I'm just going to go ahead and answer this with my salty answer, which is I'm so upset that the new Spider-Man game is going to be Sony only. It bothers me so much because it looks really awesome, and I really want to play that Spider-Man game. But yeah. I'll take any Marvel character games because I love them, and I hope we get a whole bunch. All right, let's move on. We have Reset42 who asks, do you guys feel that games with gold devalues games in general? I have not bought a new game for months and now buy nothing over $5, relying on games with gold and backlog. Now, this is a really interesting question. I kind of get what he's saying because I don't buy games very frequently anymore because, again, giant backlog, and then you're getting free games all the time. And if you're part of like EA or the Games Pass, you're going to have all those games as well. Do you guys kind of get that sense as well? I mean, you guys were just talking about being completionists, so maybe a little bit less than me, but you kind of have that feeling at all?
I mean, obviously they want to go to a software cost model where they're getting monthly revenue, but yeah. I think for me, I've never gotten a games with gold that I didn't already own anyway. So
not even once.
Not even once. The only thing I use games with gold for is maybe to switch a physical copy to digital or get a second copy for boosting.
Oh, come on. There's a few games that were launched on games with gold, so you didn't have it unless you had a pre-release code.
Well, there's not that many. Which one's on? For the one, yeah, I think there have been a few on the one, but not many.
Oh, for the 360. No.
Yeah.
Slime Rancher. Slime Rancher wasn't that launched on games with gold?
I'm not sure.
Or was that
I might have one.
Yeah, but that's one though. Or was Slime Rancher 360? No, I think to this point, there's no 360. Everything that's 360 is all back catalog.
Yeah.
At this point, so unless they give us Cars 3.
Already done.
Boy.
You can mail that to me then. I don't want to go spend $40
I did it
for
twice. I used the game guarantee on it. So I bought it on one, used the game guarantee on it to get it back when I finished it quick.
You use your GameStop as a local library?
Yeah. No, I don't do it often, but in that particular case, they said, listen, this game's kind of crap. If you want to do it, go for it. And I know all the managers and all the GameStops in town, right? Like they're all kind of. Anyway, I don't think you guys have the same. Well, you guys, I guess. I'm Onyx tier at GameStop, so.
So maybe Smrnov was not the best person to ask this question to. Damien, a little more reasonable, maybe. Do you get this sense at all as well?
Yeah, well, okay, so, I think until recently, maybe now I've started seeing some games with gold games that I didn't already own. But I had the same thing. I have hundreds of games in my backlog that I've just never gotten around to. I never really looked at it as a devaluing just because, I think for them it's just adding it as a feature set. And honestly, a lot of the games are to the point where you could be buying them in a discount bin at GameStop. And I think most of the 360 the titles usually had DLC. So if anything, I think it's kind of an ingenious way for Microsoft to get a lot of people to start playing a game that might actually go and start buying DLC to an older legacy title that they would have never shown interest in. So I think it's a good thing because it's helping keep the X360 relevant, because a lot of people still have it, still has a huge user install base, and this is kind of them showing that they still have a commitment to the platform, and it doesn't seem like the servers are going to turn off anytime soon for the majority of stuff. However, I think it parlays into another point. Do I find myself buying a lot of new games anymore? And I think in general, no, because of just how much stuff I have. I feel bad if you have hundreds of unstarted things. Hey, I got to go buy something at launch because, I really wanted to start that other game I bought at launch 2 years ago that's still sitting in shrink wrap over there.
Yeah, no. I've unwrapped 360 games. Like, I think Front Mission Evolved, I had a $60 copy that I peeled off for, but I wait for sales now. The only thing that kept me buying new stuff was challenges, and when I gave up on that, I gave up on buying things day one.
Yeah. No, that's kind of my thing. And actually, I would have said I would have broke it because I would have said my only exception would be because I had all of the completion for snowboard titles. I was like the only person in the world because I'd done both the Adrenaline Misfits and all the Stoked and this Big Airs. But then there was an X1 title that came out very
steeper over.
Yeah, that one. And I still have not gone out and bought it yet or tracked it down. And I think it's a European only release. I don't know if I've ever seen it here in the US. And
it's an Ubisoft game. It should be everywhere.
I think I just don't see it in stores, and so it's like I'm going to have to buy digital. But either way, it's at that point where I'm like, it's a $60 title, and do I want to shell out the cash for that when there's just so much other stuff that I haven't? And so now I'm basically, if I'm going to buy anything, I wait for sales. Yep. I did Battlefront for $6, and I still haven't started it. I should really do that one.
I also picked that up. $6 seemed like too big of a...
$6 for Star Wars. You're like, come on.
And not just Star Wars, like all the DLC and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and it's going to be an EA access. Do you guys have EA access though, or not?
I don't know.
Okay,
no.
I have a 30-day trial I got at PAX 2 years ago that I never redeemed. It's sitting here for when that happens.
I guess devaluing is a good word. It's not the word I would have thought to use, but it's true because I do seem less likely to spend money on games now. Because I was actually just going through my games list, and so many games that I forgot that I had just from these programs and stuff. And it's like, man, what do I want to play? I don't even know what I own. So why do I need to buy a different game? Unless it's something I'm super interested in. Like, I don't even remember the last time I spent $60 on a game. I do. It was Mass Effect. And before that, I don't know. It's crazy. But I guess in a way it kind of does.
But you're still going to buy Mass Effect. You would still buy Mass Effect on launch because of your love for that, regardless of what was given out for Games with Gold. I think the thing that it really who it hurts the most is companies like GameStop. Because why am I going to go pay GameStop money for a disc game when Microsoft just gave it to me for free. Because at the end of the day, they're not selling new copies of those games anymore, so it's not like it's costing them any money other than, oh, okay, somebody might have bought the game digitally that now doesn't need to. But I'm sure they're already tracking that the games with golds that they give out are not ones that people are buying a lot digitally anymore.
And it's kind of the opposite, though, with backwards compatible, right? Because these backwards compatible games get a huge bump in sales once it's announced that they're going backwards compatible. But I don't know. It's weird to me. I mean, GameStop's days are numbered, right? I mean, there's going to be a day not long in the future when we don't go buy our games anymore.
Well, that's why they bought ThinkGeek.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
That's why you see more swag in the store than game.
It's true. There was a lot of Pokemon figures when I walked by my local GameStop just recently.
Yeah. Did you do Pokemon Saturday? Oh, people
no.
like that. Really?
No, I've actually been pretty busy the last week or so I haven't actually booted up Pokemon Go, which is, it's kind of a crazy week to let that go since all this craziness is going on. But yeah, I'll get back to it. I'm not that worried about it. Yeah, it is an interesting situation that again, I hate to kind of not involve you in the conversation, Stephen, but since you own all the games, it's hard to get you in here. But it's just
own all the things.
Yeah. it is weird because I will buy something for $5 because it's $5. I bought Battlefront because it was $6, and I mean, that's amazing. That was a AAA game, and now I get all the DLC and the base game and everything for $6. And even if you think that game, whatever your opinion of that game is, it's worth $6. There's no doubt about that. So why would I pay $60 for the brand new game when I can work on these 1-year-old games or 2-year-old games and then work my way forward? I don't need. I'm still going to get the free stuff coming down the pipe. I don't know. That's exactly what's happening essentially because we're getting so many games, so much free stuff. It is tough to justify unless you're really into something. Justify paying that amount of money.
As far as not knowing what you have, you guys don't leverage the collection options on TA?
No, not thanks to the random to-do list, because I just kept getting total garbage of, okay, my entire list was stuff that I haven't started, and so this is the first time on the, hey, list went live today.
Yep.
I think 85% of my random to-do list is now games that I hadn't started. Is games that I have started. So I can actually go back and work towards completion. So I was very happy. But yeah, it required me to get rid of 6 pages of my game library of backlog. So I have no idea what I own anymore.
Even before they added that to TA, I had my own database where I was tracking all that. And I finally decommissioned it once TA finally got to the functional level that mine was at. So
I like surprises.
Yeah. But the nice thing is, if it's in your collection if pretty much everything not in my collection, I put it on my wish list, and that way when there's a sale, I get notified.
Ooh.
Yeah, that is nice. That requires a lot of curating and an extra effort that I probably wouldn't do. Here's the thing. A few years ago, I was looking for some game library tracking software, and I'm like, of course I can make my own spreadsheet, or I could just pay $15 or $20 or whatever and get this. And then I find out that TA does it for you. And then like Damien just mentioned, it was, well, first of all, it was the effort. I never did it because that's a lot of work, and which is fine. But secondly, like the random to-do list stuff as well. And it's like, I like the idea of the games that I've started or the games that I want to work on. As soon as I put a game on my tag, then it's fair game. But if it's a game I own in cellophane on the shelf, I haven't opened it for a reason.
I think then the feedback is that the random to-do list needs a little tweaking. Well, because then you can just say, don't start something new, right?
Yeah, I've already asked Tarragon that one.
Yeah. I'm just saying, because then you can keep everything in the World Cup aesthetic from that standpoint, right? Like it.
That's actually a pretty good idea. What did Tarragon say when I'm not calling Tarragon out if he
No. It's probably it's probably more code change.
Yeah, it is, and that's fine too. Even TA could do something like I don't know, own. I don't know. There could be like a category where it would be it would be easy enough to kind of separate it from the games that you still have. Like, I own this, but I don't want to play it or something. I don't know what they would do, but
get on it, Jack. Get on it.
Anyways, so that was an interesting conversation.
But it did remind me that because something that was said, because I do collect vintage game systems. Like, I have hundreds of 8-bit Nintendo and Atari, and Atari becomes just a massive pain to collect for because, again, it's all cartridge based and it's all physical media, and they all have label variations. So I had to go and do those Excel spreadsheets. So I think for me, I just decided that I don't collect Xbox or digital games, so that's why I just don't even care about keeping track of it, just because I don't see it as the collection like I do a vintage gaming stuff.
See, my online database, I uploaded album artwork or game artwork, and then I could actually filter based on copies I owned and things like that. So I could actually, while I was out shopping, I threw a web page on top of the database and everything, so I could tell if I need to pick something up or not. But anyway.
See, if
wow,
you,
but
that's good. That falls into my that falls into my wheelhouse, though, right? That's kind of what I do.
I was going to say,
can you sign up for that as a subscription service?
Yeah. Well, I even updated the Gamerscore on it too, right? So I could tell. Yeah. And then I did something that TA doesn't nicely do, where I had it single player Gamerscore or multiplayer Gamerscore at the summary level, so I could tell, I've done all the multiplayer in this game, so I don't have to get another copy. Or things like that. So it actually, at the summary level, when you're looking at your games, it'd say, you have 500 gamer score, but you have the 400 multiplayer done and only 100 player and single player left, or vice versa. So
interesting. So I was just thinking that you could. I mean, there are a couple of solutions out there. There are a couple of software packages that do this sort of thing, kind of. I didn't find any of them to be particularly compelling or user friendly. Man, maybe not you. Maybe you're too busy. But if somebody were to come up with a good solution for this sort of thing,
TA was an 80% coverage rate from what I was doing, and for the hassle of me maintaining mine, I decided to just cut it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, time versus effort. But I think there is. It doesn't specifically have to cater to us achievement people, but I think there's a market there for collectors, essentially people who have a very large library of insert your media type here that could be well served from a good software package doing that sort of thing. I know that I would be very interested. So.
Hey, if somebody wants to pay me enough money, I will do it.
There you go. Okay, so for this section, our last feedback comes from Mr. Saucy Slingo, who asks, this is another comic book question. What do you feel is the best superhero game in the Xbox catalog? Include arcade releases like X-Men Arcade. So, do you have a favorite, Steven?
Actually, well, yeah, we already touched on it, but I really like the Deadpool game. I thought that was a great comic to game adaptation.
Have you finished both?
I haven't done it on the one, actually. It's on my to-do list to go back and do it on the one. I did it on 360.
Yeah, I haven't played that yet, and it goes on sale quite frequently.
Yeah, I know I have it. Actually, I have it on disc. I just haven't done it.
I got mad. They jacked the price up when the movie came out. Like, it was one of those games that came out like well before the movie, and then when the movie released, like the price was
and I think the more interesting thing is I think it'll be more relevant to the second movie too, right? Like, just based on what I've seen from the plots and the characters.
Well, if Hugh Jackman makes an appearance, maybe certainly. The one thing that bothered me about the game, and I actually haven't played it, so
how could it bother you?
Well, because I've done a fair bit of research and reviews and stuff. No, it's just Nolan North. His voice is just everywhere, so it doesn't. I don't know. It's just the voice. It's fine. I'm sure he's fine. I don't have a problem with Nolan North. I just hate that he isn't anymore. But for a time, he was in every video game. It seemed like. So that was my issue with it. But That's no big deal. I haven't played that game, so. But what about you, Damon? Do you have any favorite superhero games? You mentioned.
Oh,
you...
shoot!
No, I
wanted to revise my answer.
Go ahead.
The Batman series, the Arkham series. Yes.
Of course.
Sorry, I that one I think probably is noteworthy there.
We got into a little mini debate in the Discord chat a few weeks back about the order of quality of the Arkham games. So my contention is it goes 2, 1, 3. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean the open world on 2, but 1 was a tight experience. So yeah, I that's probably close. I haven't played 3, so I can't comment.
Yeah,
on
I've only played
really?
1, so I can't comment on how it's.
I've done 1 and 2, and I feel pretty close on both of them. I mean, they have different elements, right?
Yeah. No, I would never argue with somebody that picked 1 over 2. It is obviously a smaller experience, but like you say, it's kind of more cohesive. But 2 is so good. I love 2. 3 is really good as well. And then I had to argue this point. 3 is still very, very good. It's just not as good as 1 and 2. So Damien, we were actually we did talk a little bit about this earlier, but the question specifically is any superhero. So it can be DC as well. Not that I don't even know what the best DC game would be.
I was going to say, has there been a good pick?
Batman, of course.
If we're going to go into nerd comic book, then we're going to go, there are companies outside of Marvel, DC. There's the Image. Like, had they done a Spawn game? Yeah, I think it was bad.
There was one.
It was on Xbox, it was like one of the cartridge consoles. I don't remember which one. It might have been Sega.
I'm pretty sure there was an Xbox, an OG Xbox Spawn game. I'm going to look it up right now.
Yeah, if it's OG Xbox, he didn't specify that it had to be with achievements. So
no, the question specifically states on the Xbox platform. And who knows, they can pick Spawn Armageddon, which is the name of the game, which apparently did come out. They could pick that for backwards compatibility now. So maybe it will come out.
Yeah, and actually, it doesn't say comic. It just says superhero.
Superhero. Yeah, you're right.
So Ninja Turtles all the way. What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good point.
Training layer.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, no, we're not picking that game. Which Turtles game is the best Turtles game?
The Coin-Op Arcade.
Oh, wait.
See?
Well, wait, both of those are arcade, though. But there's the original
the 4-player. Yeah, the 4-player beat 'em up.
Turtles. Well, we have Turtles in Time, and we also have... What was the other one?
The original arcade one.
It's just TMT arcade. Yeah.
Turtles in Time was an arcade cabinet game as well. It's just, I think, the sequel to the original TMT.
Now, arcade. I love those games
because that's like the X-Men arcade. Same engine. Simpsons.
Yeah. Yep. Simpsons. Yep. Simpsons.
I also love the X-Men arcade game, but it is not even in. None of those games are in contention versus something like the Arkham series.
Yeah, agreed.
So. He specifically asked for your favorite or the best superhero game. I would agree. I'd put Batman up there. I would say Spider-Man 2 was amazing for the time. I don't know if it's not. It doesn't stand up to Batman. Wolverine was really good. The Wolverine game was quite enjoyable.
Wait, that Origins one?
The game was really good. A lot of fun.
My only complaint was you spent most of your time in vision mode, so you pretty much were looking at it through the crappy graphic filters for most of the game.
Yeah, feral sense. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I don't think I would put anything above Batman.
See, I just like the humor of Dark Deadpool. That's why. Though that's one of those games.
That's why my yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't disagree. Okay.
And a love for chimichangas. I was going to say, that's one of those games I have to go back. I only have one achievement left, and I have to beat on hard mode, and I'm on the final boss. That's what I hate about this whole... Now I can go clean that up. I should.
I've got a 1-pointer and Bullet Witch to go back for.
Isn't that the best feeling?
For the hardest, yeah, I know.
I got to play the game on the hardest difficulty. Goose eggs.
On a bit of a side note, I am still really upset that they can't produce a good Turtles game in this day and age. Every time I get excited, every time it's like, oh yeah, it's going to be great and awesome, and then it's terrible every single time. It seems pretty easy to me, but I guess not.
Okay, so how about the best Disney adaptation game that's out there?
On the Xbox?
Okay, any
okay, but
with
Disney is Marvel.
Yeah, Disney is Marvel. Any with achievements.
Oh, that's true. Disney. So do
And Star Wars. And Star Wars, exactly.
The best Disney. How many Disney games have been coming out? I mean, I guess Disney Infinity. That's all that pops in my head. Or Cars. Like, what else?
Kingdom
what else
Hearts.
comes out?
Meet the Robinsons.
Yeah.
Up.
Okay, I'd definitely say Infinity over all those games.
Actually,
Universe.
was it Meet the Robinsons? Yeah, Meet the Robinsons wasn't as bad as you'd think for a movie adaptation game.
Now, if we're going
Wally
best
Korea.
Wally.
Yeah, got the same place at the same time. But yeah.
Now, if we're going best Disney game of all time, it's got to be Aladdin, right?
Yeah, it's pretty
Lion
classic.
King.
No, Aladdin was way better than Lion King.
See, and this goes back to that back catalog. I bought the Disney Afternoon Collection. I still haven't started that on the console, and I love those games. I still have all the original NES cartridges over there.
Oh, then if we're
DuckTales.
doing, I was just going to say DuckTales. DuckTales is by far the best Disney game then, and it has achievements, so it counts.
You know what? You know what I think they should bring out? Quackshot, because I am a huge Donald Duck fan, and they need to bring that back.
What is Quackshot?
It was on the
I don't think
Genesis. Sega Genesis.
Oh.
Is Donald Duck is a safari adventure type?
Interesting. And again, I have to point this out because this reminded me of that.
But then wait, that just made me forget though. We overlooked that Kingdom Hearts. Then, if we're talking about that,
That's what I said. Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, I did mention.
He did mention that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It hasn't come out on
hasn't-
Xbox yet, though. It's just on
Yeah.
other platforms. Yeah, it is coming, but it's not out yet for Xbox.
I actually just noticed, Damien, here on your avatar, you have a DuckTales T-shirt.
No, that's just the Donald Duck T-shirt.
Oh, it is. Are you sure?
That's
Okay.
the Donald Duck ringer tee, and that is actually the Mickey Sorcerer hat that I got in Disney Magic Kingdoms. I don't
awesome.
remember what I did to get that Avatar award, but that one was a lot of grinding through the park. What's really sad is when you spend so much time in Disney parks in real life, you know exactly where you're going in the game. It's like, shut up, it's over here. What? You're like, trust me, I know.
We're gonna cut through Frontierland for a shortcut.
Actually, little fun fact, did you know there's actually no restrooms in the Liberty Square in Walt Disney World?
Yeah, because they don't want them stopping when they come in.
The what? Well,
They don't want people stopping.
no, it's
when they come
authentic
in.
to the time because in the 1700s you wouldn't have had indoor plumbing. So actually,
And you wouldn't have gone to the bathroom.
no, well, you would have been in an outhouse. So actually, if you go to the bathroom in the Paul Revere Tavern, it's actually you've actually crossed over into Fantasyland. So if you walk through the door into the bathroom, you've now actually crossed over into Fantasyland. So
Yeah, so that's why they did that. Yeah, that's cool.
I read an article this week, or just recently, that there was going to be another theme park based on the Disney villains that was never built. That was at least thought about, considered.
They can put in
You know anything about that?
Washington D.C. or
All right, folks, we're done here. We're going home. So that was a good one. That was a good one.
I don't know how we top that one.
I'm
Hold
done.
on.
Screw you guys. I'm getting home.
Hey, yeah, actually, how's Stick of Truth? I haven't played that one yet.
Oh, it's great.
You haven't played Stick of Truth?
I haven't played it backward. I haven't played it on the one yet, but I played it on the 360.
I forgot they stacked it. Stick of Truth is an interesting game because it's awesome and fun, but you have to specifically play the game in a very...
That's the problem I had with it too. You do have to be very focused on your run through in order to not miss anything if you're going for the achievements.
If you want to do it in a reasonable amount of time. If you don't mind 4 or 5 playthroughs, it's probably really enjoyable and fun, but that's a lot of time to devote to the game. It's annoying if you're just going for the achievements because you kind of have to set up different save points and stuff like that.
Go here before you go there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I don't like it. I don't like the achievement list in Stick of Truth at all, but I love the game. It is amazing. I really hope they fix that for Fractured Butthole. I'm sorry, I said Fractured Butthole. Sorry. Okay, moving on. Leapfrog is still going on.
Really?
Which is crazy.
That's still a thing.
I just looked it up because I was thinking about it, and yes, there are in fact, as of right now, and this could be changed in the next 2 hours or so, or I guess 4 hours, whenever it changes. There are 80 people still in it.
God.
Which is insane. And so right now you have to get 5 achievements with a 7.0 ratio today. And 35 of those 80 people have gotten it already. So it looks like there are some people that are really in it for the long haul. So congratulations to anybody listening still in it. I had to bow out pretty early on. Did you guys participate at all?
I did not.
I got knocked out after you. That was at least my smaller personal victory. It's like,
that's how it's going to be. Okay. All right.
Hey, you know, I will be honest. I am very petty. There are some times where I am just, I am like, I'm going to go out, but not before this guy. There's a few people.
To be fair, my circumstances knocked me out. I didn't actually get a chance, but I probably wouldn't have made it too much further, honestly.
Well, that was my thing too. I had scout stuff that I had to do. I just didn't have time to game that day. So.
Yeah. But seriously, I mean, to the 35 to 80, depending on how many of these people actually get these achievements, still in Leapfrog, keep going. I mean, I want to keep this alive as long as possible. That's awesome that people are still getting that. Obviously, it's gonna get pretty impossible pretty quickly at this point, I would imagine. But it's always awesome to see this community just kind of always exceed your expectations with these sorts of things.
I can't believe there's actually 4 people on my friends list still in it. That's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like the format more than last year. But I'm just surprised, that many people are still like 4 sevens in a day. Day in, day out.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you got to do it tomorrow. It's not like you could do 1 7 and you're like, okay, I'm done for the week.
Yeah. I imagine a great advantage to some people would be if they hadn't started the big ones like Master Chief Collection or Killer Instinct maybe, or Rare Replay. I think that would be able to get you pretty far.
Or anything free to play.
Or anything free to play, or title Minecraft. I mean, if you have like Gear VR Minecraft or something like that, you know.
That one's not as high because the people who do it are people who are achievement.
Oh yeah, I guess those people would be probably going for it. You're right. Yeah. So I guess it'd be the bigger versions like the Xbox.
So wait, have you done Gear VR?
Yeah.
How is it? Like actually, just for playing.
From a VR perspective, yeah, it's kind of cool. I mean, I like the. I don't get dizzy from it or anything along those lines. And I think one of the things that is going to come with the X once it's in Windows 10, I still think the X is going to be the VR-capable version of an Xbox. I mean, Microsoft has never formally said anything. They've all been kind of cagey and quiet about it. But from my opinion, I mean, there's no reason the things that a PC with that type of card can do, an X should be able to do the same thing. And they're going with this unified, platform for VR with third-party manufacturers of the headsets. If it works on Windows 10, I can't imagine why they wouldn't want it to work. And again, it'll probably segment the Xbox market at that point. But even if it's just a screencast of a really big screen, that's what I liked about Minecraft. Small device on your head gets you that high resolution, what you're looking for. Not the phone version because it's scaled down phone graphics. But for an Xbox One X, I can imagine it'd be pretty high resolution, high frame rate. Won't cause any nausea issues, and you can just literally just show the game and don't make it a thing where you turn your head and have to look around. You just have a really big monitor right in your face.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy Minecraft just generally?
No.
Oh really? That's not your thing.
I was just asking because I do. I like Minecraft. I'm not super into it, but like I can drop into a game with my friends and have a really good time just goofing off and building silly stuff.
It's too aimless for me. I mean, I'm a pretty focused OCD individual, right? Like, I mean, my work day, my home life, my gameplay, I'm pretty focused in what I do. And just kicking back and throwing a bunch of Lego on the screen in front of me is kind of not my cup of tea. And I get that there are people who are. I mean, they're brilliant people who are capable of doing really amazing things with it. And I guess, for me, it's just not the kind of person I am. I'm 100% a Type A personality. So
I loved building castles in it for myself, but then you would go see the castles like there were people developed, and you're like, oh, I'm not building a castle like that. It's like if you went out and you go like if you're left to your own device. It's like that. If I think, yeah, I'm very creative, but like I watch my son because my son does stuff in Minecraft, and then he plays Blockcraft on the phone. He does all the, so I'll sit there and be like, yeah, I made a 3-story house, and I would craft all this stuff. I kind of got into that whole. I just get mindlessly lost building my mansion, but then I would go look what he designs, and you're going, oh, well, I mean, yeah, you got a lot of color art, but he does like he goes crazy with it, and that's like where that. I see those people and you're like, I definitely can't do that. But I like the idea of just not sometimes being tied to completely on rails, that you have some creativity. It's like Lego. I like building Lego, but I'm not going to be the type of person that could ever build those. Well, if you give me instructions, I can build one, right? But I could never come up with those plans for those creative sets of like, here's the 3-story Chinese theater, like, people that develop that stuff, I'm like, that's amazing.
Yes, the 3-story Chinese theater is probably quite amazing, but, and look this up, this is years old at this point, people have built a 2-scale version of the USS Enterprise in Minecraft, and it is mind-blowing and amazing, and I love it. There's many things that people built in Minecraft, of course. They've built like working computers and stuff like that, but the most impressive thing you'll ever see is the Starship Enterprise in Minecraft. Look it up. So I asked you that, Stephen, because I was going to ask you, because I do like Minecraft, and you just mentioned that it's not your thing, but I was going to ask how much the VR experience adds to it, because I could imagine that it's quite.
Oh yeah, I mean,
enjoyable.
It was one of the best versions of all the stacks that I did, because of that. Like I really, like I said, I'm a fan of VR just from the fact that you have this huge monitor that doesn't take up, a wall of your house, but brings the screen that close to you and it's all around you, right? So even if it was just throw Warframe up in a way that I'm looking at it full screen, okay, when I bob my head, it doesn't move around and I could still use a controller to get about. I see that as something that the Xbox One X is going to do. But, maybe I'm wrong on my call on that.
I actually agree with you. I was very surprised this past E3 when they announced the Xbox One X that we hadn't heard any VR stuff, and I'm sure it's not far behind.
Yeah, I think they're waiting for Windows 10 to get it right first.
Yeah, since we have Fream standing in the wing, I'll take this as my sign off for the night, guys. Thanks for having me, Stephen. You've been a great guest. Yep. Proulx, great host.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you, sir. Guys. We'll talk to you soon. Well, actually, we'll hear you in just a few minutes.
Oh yeah, I will, but I'll bring Warren with me this time. Yep. Okay, let me go get one.
Have a good one.
Okay, thanks.
All right, well, Damien's gone, but I'm back. I made it. I'm done. I'm finished with what I needed to do. I'm back, and we also picked up this random straggler who's wandering the earth in a deep, deep depression. Randy is floating around in the background. Randy, how are you doing?
Not great.
Can I talk you off the ledge?
Very terrible, actually.
We got to hear about it. I mean, I've seen it in Discord, but please open up. Cut a vein.
Now,
let us hear it.
I'll start off by thanking Skeptical Mario that actually said this to me, so we don't end up in we'll get to that. So we don't all pile in an SUV and go to Ohio tomorrow. Although I still kind of wanted to go, but no one else did. So news is out. McPizza is dead, thanks to McDonald's corporate. It's gone forever.
Totally gone.
They told this McDonald's to stop selling it. They're prohibiting them from selling McPizza after August 31st. That is 2 days before we were going to be there. 2 days.
It is unbelievable coincidence, really.
2 days.
Now,
I called them on Tuesday, which is 4 days before this podcast, and they had it, and they did not tell me that it was going away.
Now, can you...
2 days.
They have to have some, left in the freezer, though, right?
No, it's sold out. Everywhere reports it's gone.
Well, because they can't publicly say it.
No, they did.
Oh, okay.
They did publicly say that, and the people in the town knew that it was selling out.
Oh, so they ate them all.
So they all went and ate it all.
Those bastards.
I honestly can't blame them because, I mean, it's your last opportunity to get McPizza. You got to go get McPizza.
Now, don't you wish they gave you a little bit of a warning? I mean, like... Now,
I really wonder if maybe they didn't know.
Well, you think like McDonald's corporate would know, but here's the thing. Here's my
okay, but they're not run by McDonald's corporate, so I mean they could have instructed them yesterday that it's gone. Yeah, like that's it. You know, they ran out of crust and they had to order more, and they said
not happening.
Nope.
So here's my optimistic view: is that
there's no optimism here.
They're shutting it down so that they can do a global launch of the new McPizza.
No.
McPizza 2.0?
That's
all right, we're on board.
No, they already did that in Florida. There's a McDonald's in Florida that sells pizza, but it's not McPizza. It's some fancy, dumb test McDonald's pizza that's no good. It's no good. It's bad. It's bad.
It's like McPizza with accent marks and a tilde somewhere.
Yeah.
McPizza.
Pizza.
McPizza.
So it's a huge bummer. And,
but you did save yourself a trip, so I mean, like...
Yeah, but I still want to go, but no one else does. I wanted to go. I just canceled the hotel. It's off officially because what I know they're going to do is, so in that McDonald's, they had like... So it's like imagine two counters at a 90-degree angle. There's one counter on one side that is a normal McDonald's, a normal modern McDonald's with the TV menus and the fancy stuff and the coffee signs and everything. Then on the other side is like an untouched portal to the 90s. You've got a neon pizza sign. You've got a pizza counter. You've got a McPizza oven. You've got pizza boxes. And best of all, you have a menu that is from the 90s. They have the same menu. I'm sure I don't know this for sure, but I'm sure it is. A menu that is like where you have to like manually change the numbers on it.
Oh, yeah?
And with all the pizza
that
stuff.
brown color with the white letters, and it's got the
that's old school.
Yeah, it's actually blue, but yeah, it's the same idea. I mean, they must have been blue in parts of the U.S. or something, because I do remember the Canadian ones being brown. Now the question is, do any of you guys remember McPizza from its original time?
Never.
Yep. They had it on the 401. The 401.
Yeah, see, it did exist. It did exist. Okay. Because I was starting to I'm wondering, like, because nobody I talk to remembers it. And, like, people that are old enough to remember it. Because it lasted longer in Canada, for sure.
Yeah.
But
I honestly never heard of it.
No, me neither. Yeah.
So, needless to say, I'm very upset and disappointed. And so what I think is going to happen now is, well, the reason I wanted to go out there was to see all of this beautiful portal before it's destroyed, which it probably will be by the end of the year.
I bet. Sure. Yeah, they'll just redo the whole thing.
It's what I suspect is going on is corporate is telling them you need to switch to like the modern menus with the touchscreen things and do the full reno, where they're just gonna tear all the pizza stuff down, especially now that it's gone.
Oh, man.
I would also really like to buy their pizza sign, the neon pizza sign.
Just hang out by the dumpster, and it'll probably show up there in the next week or two.
I think someone will want it. But, yeah, I want that. Or the menu. I would. Either one would be fantastic, or both.
That's funny. I was poking around on my brother's Facebook page, and he had posted something, because I got a piece of news about it later, but this reminds me of that scene. Are you guys familiar with the movie Empire Records? With Lucas, and he's like this kind of eclectic dude who gets grounded. I mean, he's an adult, but he gets grounded by this record store owner to sit on the couch all day because he lost all the money for the record store. And one guy is like this philosophical, weird, artsy dude, and he's like, "Man, what's with today?" And the guy turns, he goes, "Damn the man!" That's how I'm feeling right now for you, Randy.
Damn the McMahon.
Yes, because it was corporate. It was.
Well, now you sound like a wrestling thing.
I will say that the owner of those two McDonald's locations posted a really nice letter saying, like, "Hey, this was not our choice. Like, we don't want to get rid of this. Like, we want to. Like, this is a big deal to a lot of people."
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like.
You were literally going to make a cross-country, a half-country road trip.
Yeah.
Like,
and I mean, and we're not the only people that do this. Like, that's a thing people do, is make McPilgrimage or something. I don't know. But they go to McPizza because it's the only McPizza, and it's like a thing that was in a lot of places. And it's kind of, I guess like Ohio is kind of like centrally enough that a lot of places can do it. Like, like this, or you stay one night or whatever. And you do it in a couple of
what's
days.
it going to do to the tourism industry in that town?
Probably a lot, because it's a town of 2,000 people.
Basically, Ohio is now bankrupt.
That Best Western is going down.
But now the weird thing is, it's a town of 2,000 people, but it's like 1.5 square miles is the town. So there's like a million little tiny towns all next to each other.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it's not quite as rural as I thought it was, but I mean, it's not some huge city either. But yeah, so that's pretty lame. I think I'm going to write McDonald's corporate a paper letter.
Oh yeah, that's it right there.
Because I mean, what better way to?
Well, maybe they'll send you one in the mail.
We talked about it on last show about favorite movies, and his favorite movie was Shawshank Redemption. I think you should write a handwritten letter every day for the next 15 years.
I was thinking
until you get your damn McPizza.
Not for 15 years, but
until you get results, Randy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Unfortunately, it costs like 50 cents a letter, which adds up when you're sending them daily.
You work but now. Just
send a postcard.
Or sneak it into your corporate mail.
Price.
Well, I mean, I can drop it off there, but all the postage is tracked at work. So like the paid postage, we've got one of those post machines, but it's all tracked by ID number. We
do definitely, Randy mentioned it just a little bit ago, but a super thank you to Skeptical, because if nobody brought this to our attention, we would have made the trip for no reason, and I'm very glad that that's not happening. So yes, I don't know if he had like a Google news crawler out there.
It must have. I don't know. It must be right.
But he saved us a lot of time and money. So thank you, Mario, for that. We appreciate it.
If we as a
the crazy thing is, though, is like, because somebody brought this up, like my friend brought this up, who was coming with us, and he's like, we should probably check to make sure that they actually still sell pizza. And I was like, I'm pretty sure they do. Like, we would have heard, I would have heard about that. They didn't, but I called just to be sure. And I'm like, okay, everything's good. I mean, they're out today, but that's fine. They're getting more in tomorrow. No big deal. And then it's gone. And then it's gone 2 days before we're going to be there.
The only thing, like, if we were, a little bit more media savvy podcast and you guys did more like live streaming, or, you had your phones and you captured the moment, like, that would be worth it from a viewer standpoint to watch your devastation when you showed up on site and then just, maybe start a riot. I don't know. I don't condone that, but I'm just saying, if it happened.
It would have just been depressing. Yeah. Like, there would be no rioting. It's not their fault. It's McDonald's corporate.
Well, but
who will be getting a sternly worded letter at least once, possibly every day for the next 10 years
until we get results.
I did tweet Pepsi every day for weeks, and then almost every day for months about Crystal Pepsi. And I did used to call a radio show in my hometown that was I don't know if they had it every day, but I did it every time they had a show. And so there was this running joke on an online forum that I was on, that me and a few friends were on. And a running joke item was a PT Cruiser. So in this show, it was called, I don't remember what it was called, but basically what it was like a guessing game. So you call in, you'd like, say, oh, does it have wings? And then they'd say yes or no or whatever. Or you can call in and make a guess. So it was guessing an object or a thing or an animal or whatever. I called in every day and asked if it was a PT Cruiser. And they played it on air multiple times. Yeah. And then I eventually won.
So it was a PT Cruiser.
It was
at
a
one
PT
point.
Cruiser once.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
They knew I was going to call. And it was funny, too, because there were a couple times they stopped answering calls from my phone number. So I used someone else's phone.
That's how you do it.
Oh, boy.
Then I switched to Skype, which is just no caller ID. And
so you need that level of tenacity to get McPizza back.
I know. We got to get some people on this. If someone else wants to mail letters on a regular basis, I will write up a template and post it online.
All right. Our next Patreon level is going to be for the mass letter writing campaign for McPizza.
A portion of the proceeds of your Patreon donations go to paying for postage for McPizza.
Yeah, we had
letters.
to upgrade Tier 4 or whatever. We need more money for Tier 4. We need stamp money.
It's the Mick tier.
The Mick tier, yeah.
Delightful.
I could just start my own Patreon.
There you go.
McPizza campaign.
Or
okay, with that, I'm going to leave because I'm angry, and I'm going to be a rain cloud. So we'll see you next week.
All right. See you later, Randy.
Have a good one.
Proulx, he's like at your house, man. You should. This is your golden opportunity to feed him drinks until he gets just s-faced, and like he is totally receptive right now to just going nuts.
Well, who knows what Proulx will do to him while I'm recording the show. Maybe he'll have some luck with that.
That would be, oh man. And just throwing it out there, recording for posterity's sake. I think and you could mosaic out his face if you want or whatever, but let's see belligerent Randy. We've seen rain cloud Randy. I want belligerent Randy.
Yeah, I think Randy's an angry dork. What do you think?
Oh my goodness. I'm picturing necktie around the head, pants, one pant leg off, just wandering around, disheveled and throwing punches. That's the image in my head. So we can move on with the rest of the show here. I didn't really. So I've had like the worst week. It's not the worst. It was fine. It's just so my wife has been out of town all week, so I've been single dadding it. And then for whatever reason, work has decided like this is going to be just the worst week ever. So I have been out of touch of everything all week. So I don't really have any news items to touch on, really of note. And it's kind of, that lull between Gamescom and PAX just starting up. So there's not really a ton of stuff going on right now. I'm sure we can cover all the PAX stuff next week. But one thing I did want to mention, I just had a comment about my brother's Facebook. I found so he qualified. He posted his qualification for the Big Buck Hunter Championship. He won a regional tournament here, which allows him to get his free ticket punched for the main event or whatever. I think is in October. I don't know the exact date, but when I do, we can post it. You guys can if anyone's interested, watch that stream on Twitch and see. And if you want to see what the winning ticket looks like, it's in the show notes. I took a photo of his little slip. Apparently, for winning that tournament, you get like $50, which he's probably spent more in quarters trying to play the game, but. I
was gonna say this is the arcade version, not the phone version.
Yeah, right. Everybody pulls out their iPhones to. So yeah, I know you guys touched on a bunch of questions already, but there's just a couple more we had from last week. Kilgore21, who is a relatively new listener as far as I can tell, or at least he's an old listener and has just had the courage enough to reach out to the show. Regardless, I'm really excited. But he asks via Twitter, if you had to add a reward system for Gamerscore, how would you do it? Would you do nameplate changes, extra titles, free games, avatar costumes? Those are some of his ideas. They've done some iterations of reward systems in terms of Gamerscore before. They had that Canadian promotion where you got a discount on a system. They've got the emblems and the badges and things, but nothing really stuck. Like I don't see anything really out there to encourage people to be like achievement hunters. Do you guys have any? I mean, not that it's going to change how we approach things or whatnot, but any of those bells and whistles you think that could really enhance this system at all?
Sorry,
no, go ahead. You're the man. I mean, you got all the Gamerscore. So apart from being a millionaire, I don't think we're getting a bunch of free stuff. But what else do you need?
I mean, for me, I think the Gamerscore is the reward, right? I think that's part of why it's hard to enhance the system or find something that sticks is that people who are doing it are, and again, for me, we talked about it a little earlier, it's the completions kind of lead to the score, but still the score itself is the number that people see, right? Until they bring back the games completions on the dashboard, Microsoft, I don't think, people can't quickly just look at your tag and say, oh, this guy's really completed a lot of games. I'm not going to sit there and update it every time I complete one or lose one, right? The one thing that it would be interesting, and I don't know that it enhances it that much, is doing something like the number of years you are on live or some sort of tiering there, right? Some sort of double black diamond or something like that for people's Gamerscore. That's kind of a a tag on they're like the NXE team, launch team, something special
Sure.
there for people with higher scores would be an interesting thing to add. But I think for the most part, it's the score itself that is kind of the reward.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I just think even like on the individual profile page, like if there was just more information about that gamer, that from a digital standpoint, like you said, completions, that's a great one. Number of achievements, you got the Gamerscore on there, years of live, number of games played. I mean, they're all kind of there, but if they made that landing page just a little sexier, and then, their idea about integrating it with your friends list and creating these leaderboards and hubs, like they're probably in the system, in the dashboard, but like I just don't have the time or patience to go and tinker around in all their submenus to find it right now. So, either that's a testament to it being buried and I can't find it, or there's not really any cool information there that intrigues me to go do it. So like that kind of a thing. And of course, I'm always going to go with the platinums. Like I'm with you. I love completions as well, and I would love an achievement or a trophy, or obviously not a trophy, but some sort of emblem or badge to signify that you've completed all the available achievements in a specific game.
Like they used to have.
Yeah, that'd just be wonderful. But I don't expect anything monetarily. I don't, maybe with the new rollout of the avatars, there might be some things in there. Maybe you'll get a throne, Smrnov, that, the King of Canada. Because, they are trying to make things more visible in terms of monthly leaderboards and creating a sub-level of competition. Because really, there's so many different ways that we as achievement hunters go about our gaming. Some people love the score. They go for the high score. They don't care about completions. They just want that number to climb. Others like the challenge of going after achievements. Like Randy, he likes just kind of the obscure, the obscure achievements. That's his own reward there. Steven,
a rare achievement account, right? You could add a rare achievement account.
You're about completions and number of completions, and so like there's all these different things for people to go after, and so to create some way to and I know True Achievements is a fantastic job, so maybe you partner with them and try and create, through that app that they had, try and create a more integrated system with their leaderboards and things. Just a way to really kind of push the community aspect of it, for whoever cares about. Now, if True Achievements user count is anything to go by, and it's 400,000, well, okay, 400,000, that's a huge number, but is that the amount of people who are really interested in achievements compared to the millions who play? Like, maybe it's not. Maybe our community isn't as big as in comparison. So why bother? But you'd like to think we're the most dedicated subset.
That would be really. I mean, this is pie in the sky kind of thinking, and it's never going to happen. But that'd be really cool. Like if you went to somebody's profile there, when you're on the Xbox app or on the Xbox itself, and you went to their profile, and maybe they, you have the info, achievements, blah, 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 and you have all these tabs, and then you could just add an extra one, like the stats tab, and at the bottom it says powered by TA, and it would give you all of, like, your most significant milestones or something like that. Like, oh, this person is number one in their region for, Xbox 360 games or whatever. That would be a really cool way to do it, to kind of integrate it. That's crazy. It's probably never going to happen, but like something that is easy to look at very quickly. So you mentioned the number of years that you're on Xbox Live. That is something that is super accessible, super easy, and everybody has it. So it's standardized. So everybody knows. You look at their gamer card, there it is. That number is right there. They need more of that. Of course, the problem is the more stuff you put on these things, the less significant they become, because then you have to kind of figure out what's going on, and so it's tough. I agree. I agree with Steven that it's like the number itself is the end all be all. So you kind of don't want to detract from that.
then enhance the information that's, you can see a number, but if you are not familiar with Gamerscore or the community, you're like, hey, man, I know, because there's a lot of people who are really proud when they hit 50,000, 25,000, certainly 100,000. Like, I was pumped about 100,000. Like, and those are awesome milestones. But to then see what like others have done and say, holy bleep that out, Randy. You got this guy's over 1 million? Are you kidding me? Like, it would be great to have, even if it's like shows like tiers, that you could see where you rank globally. Hey, you're number 3 in the world. You're number 9,720. You're in the top 10,000. You're in the top 25,000. You're whatever. Even maybe if it's not even the specific range or whatever, that you just show brackets. Yeah,
the only thing about the global rank is they'd have to get back onto cleaning up
that's
cheaters.
True.
Which again, I think that's why on even their monthly leaderboards they only track Xbox One score, right? Like, I don't know if you know, but yeah, your 360 points don't roll into that monthly leaderboard that's on the dashboard.
I did not know that. I guess I didn't even pay attention.
It's only Xbox One score. Yeah, it's only Xbox One, which again is the system that's not achievable, right?
Not yet, at least. What's going to happen when they move that to client-based achievements? Do you think that's just going to open the door for cheaters? Are they going to really have to crack down?
Well, the problem is you'd still have to be able to access the client data, right? Like the profile still isn't something sitting on a memory stick. I think that's how a lot of the cheaters in the old system were able to get around it, right? Yeah, you had that access to the device. I mean, if people pop open the Xbox, figure out the file system, start editing and doing things, I mean, I'm sure there's tons of security and other things that are in place as far as, checksums and everything else to limit that from happening. So I'd like to think Microsoft's on the ball as far as preventing that in the current system, even with going to a client-based unlock system.
I would have to assume so too, but ultimately they missed the boat on the first, and so now they're in a system where they can't fix the old ways. Yeah, that's too bad. Stupid rampant cheaters. What a bunch of jerks. All right. So I think we've answered that to the best of our abilities. Got one more here from JJ Aldana, and it's actually kind of show specific, but maybe we can ask Steven what he thinks as well. He said, if you guys are going to continue to expand and do videos on YouTube, what kind of videos would you be interested in producing? So the idea obviously is to grow the show. We did our live show last week, which was super fun. Oh my God, I love that. And okay, we didn't do it this week because we're still trying to, figure out how it's going to work and try to set up a schedule. And, watching the video on demand back, it's like, okay, yep, super amateur. First time, I get it. It's a proof of concept. But you look at like some of the real streamers where they've got the nice backdrops, you've got, links in there, you've got ways to interact that are better. I mean, there's just so many things we could do. And so from my standpoint, that's ultimately what I'd like to do, is to enhance our live show, and make that more of a, an exciting thing to do in terms of like videos and things. Like, I would love to be able to have the time and, like what Macca does, where and maybe not an achievement guide per se, but like a let's play, and just to play a game and interact. But ultimately, when I play games, I don't typically talk to myself. So like, I want to focus on the game and just play it. And so like, I'm a pretty terrible streamer, which is why I don't do it. I can talk to a camera and I can be on show and I can be animated, but if I'm focused on something else, I'm just terrible when it comes to multitasking. So I would like to do that. I'm just not good at it. So I don't pretend like I can. Before you ask Steven about their outsider input, Proulx, do you have anything that you think we should expand upon, or what do you think?
I think we should jump on board the ASMR video bandwagon. That's not true. I don't know if anybody else knows what this is, but this is when people like whisper into their mics. It's supposed to give you like a tingling sensation. It's really weird. But seriously, look up ASMR YouTube videos.
Am I going to get some NSFWs or what? Okay.
No. Well, I mean, there may be some videos, but generally speaking, it's not. It's actually a really interesting phenomenon, but it's kind of weird. And by kind of, it's very weird. But no, I agree with you. I think the live show went fantastically. We all had a good time. We had a great turnout. I would love to keep that going. And then honestly, I don't know that we would. That the YouTube kind of market is crowded, so I don't know. Especially for achievements and stuff like that, there are people who do that all the time. I don't know that we'd be able to add anything to that specifically, but I'd like to hear what people want to see. Like, would they want to see, kind of a video companion to the podcast every week? If not, is there some sort of video content that they would like, and then we could go from there.
Yeah. Steven, do you have any thoughts? What do you like to watch YouTube videos? You're an older chap like myself.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've expressed in the past that I miss the text walkthrough, but
I'm the same way.
Game facts.
I won't go down that path again. I think that in my current scenario, like as far as me, the one thing I would think about doing would be streaming, but the way I play isn't interesting, at least right now. I mean,
right.
Hold on one sec. I got to go look that up. Hold on one sec. I got to put you on, 20 minutes while I take care of this call. I think for me, what I probably would look at is perhaps when I hit that point of retirement as a supplemental thing to do, when I actually have the time to do it, I might jump on whatever's current at that point. But that's still a few years off. So, in my current work-life home balance, I don't see a place for streaming that would make sense. I mean, I could just stream and people could chat with me, and if that's would in some way improve someone's life, then sure, I'd be willing to throw that up. But that's about as far as I could take it as far as producing or doing anything on my end.
Yeah. I like there was a part of me that had always considered like, man, yeah, that would be so much fun, and I would, well, here, let me ask you this question, because we went over this question last week, and we talked about our backlog, and I know you have a significant backlog, and so I'm wondering if you had spent any time to quantify what exactly is on there. And so if you didn't listen to last week's show, I did the math through how long to beat based on my, just general completion, like 100%. I don't think it's 100%. I think it's like main story. So let's just say I did main story and everything. It was going to take me 41 years at my current gaming rate of 3 hours a night to complete that backlog. And so just curious about you, what does your current backlog look like? And when might things slow down that you could have the time to to do this?
Well, I mean, that's the problem is releases. My backlog is definitly in over 1,000, I would say.
Games?
Yeah, because it's every game that's come out that I haven't finished. So
I suppose
that's what I consider my backlog. But in the same token, I mean, I knocked off 7 games this week, so it really depends on the release schedule too, right? But there were quick games. We talked about it when we were playing, but a lot of those were 1 to 2 hour games.
That's just a lot.
Yeah.
Well, how much gaming do you usually do a week or a day?
I really can't quantify the workday part of it, because it could just be I'm totally heads down and just have no window, so it ends up being 15 minutes, or it could be kind of a slower day, or I could be running things that I have to wait on results for, and I could fit in a little more time.
Okay.
The workday part of it varies. I mean, I guess you could average it to an hour if you wanted to, if you really want to count focused playtime, because again, that's the other thing, it's not very focused.
Right.
In the evenings, then I play pretty much from 5 until 9-ish, because then we go watch TV as a family and do stuff and kind of.
Well, and your kids they're a little older, aren't they?
I have one daughter, and she's in grade 10, so she's
So she doesn't want anything to do with you.
No, she watches TV with us in the evenings, and sometimes instead of playing something for achievements, I'll play with her. Well, actually, she really likes Borderlands. Like, she played a ton of Borderlands, so she just drags me through Borderlands. So when I mop that one up, but yeah, she plays more like Skyrim and Borderlands and games where she's has nothing to do with achievements. She just spends hundreds of hours in those games. So, but yeah, no. And then we kind of do that as a family, and we always have dinner together as family. And so, I mean, there's a lot of family time still in my life.
That's good.
That's the priority. So I don't know. So that averages to what, 5-ish hours a day. You average that across the week, more on the weekends because I'll sit down and do something where again it's in an open family area, but I'm going through a game that's maybe a little more interesting to watch with a walkthrough or something like that.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know what that number ends up being.
I bet if I had that amount of gaming, I could probably cut mine down to like 22 years.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Kids will get out of there, and then you can, you can just sit at home and devote all of your waking hours to it. Once they leave the house, start their family. Then, then Grandpa can start poisoning his grandchildren with achievements.
Well, in July, right? I took those days off in July when I did pass Stallion.
Yep.
That's kind of like hardcore playing, right? In my opinion. I mean, that was outside of eat, sleep, other breaks, I pretty much was playing nonstop.
I had one day like that in, was it January, February? Oh, I don't know. I had like 103-degree fever. And so it was as productive as I could get. But man, it was like 8 uninterrupted hours of gaming. And it was one of the best days of my life, aside from being near death and having a fever. But that was so much fun. I got so much done. I miss those days. Those are just great. So JJ Aldana, to answer your question, I mean, we'd love to get the show to grow and stuff, but I don't know if I have the bandwidth to do it or the talent to be a streamer. So I was at my daughter's soccer practice yesterday, and I was just playing catch with my son while she was practicing, and these 2 10 to 12-year-old kids show up. And so we're at a soccer field, and so they're like, "Hey, do you know Zach something or other?" And Randy something. I don't know. They might as well have made up 2 names because I didn't recognize the names at all. And I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe like it's a soccer player. I mean, we're on soccer fields and, but I'm going to go with a streamer. Okay, let's just see. So I asked them, is it like a YouTuber? Is it how do you not know, man? He's got like 10 million subs and all this. He's like one of the greatest vloggers of all. And I'm like, what could he possibly do that's so interesting that you'd want to watch him every day for however long? And he's, like PewDiePie and this. And I'm like, man, I don't know if I am cut out for that type of thing. I prefer like actual human interaction, but I guess they have it, right? They have it. They get to talk to people. So I think I'm too old. I miss the boat on being able to stream. So there we have it. I think that's kind of wraps it up for feedback and stuff. I will, We'll kick it over to, I assume, Randy. Hopefully he's got some knobs and discos, but we definitely have a review Zed. So we'll take a quick break here and hit into those segments, and then we'll come back and wrap up the show.
Zed to Zed Podcast presents Review Zed.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks, Fream. I'm assuming you kicked it back to me. By now I'm here with Warren. Hey, Warren.
What's up?
And we're here for this week's Review Zed. So, as I mentioned a little bit earlier in the show, because I said we were going to be talking about this. So, the game for this week is Eventide 2, Sorcerer's Mirror, which is published and developed by Artifacts Mundi. This was released on August 25th, 2017 on Xbox One with an Xbox Live store price of $9.99. Or you can get the bundle for $14.99. So this is the sequel to Eventide 1. I think Eventide 1 was the one that I said was the quintessential Artifacts Mundi game, which if you'd never played one before, it gave you a good synopsis of what their games were about, and it had a more Slavic.
Yeah, that was the Slavic fable, I want to say it was.
Yeah, so being a company that is European-based, I thought that was a more, Slavic fable that kind of ties in, I guess, more to their thing than, I don't know, the Nightmares of the Deep, like the thing. So, however, this one, I don't know. I think I've just played too many. I think we were saying this on the last one. It just feels like from a story perspective, it's just, didn't we do this before? Somebody gets kidnapped because they look like the person that the evil villain that you're going to solve puzzles your way through the puzzles, like, is trying to bring back to, like, I swear we've done this game before.
Yeah, you're right. It's unfortunate that Artifacts Mundi has turned into a cookie cutter game manufacturer. I mean, the Gamerscore is great, but exactly, the plot lines are just continually rehashed.
Yeah, it's the, oh, you look like such and such. I will kidnap you. Oh no, that was my fill-in, relationship.
Sister, my climbing buddy.
Grandma, daughter, sister. Yeah, so I will say what I did like in terms of you didn't have to do multiple playthroughs and have to suddenly switch from doing the finding to going to doing some mahjong puzzle, or there wasn't an alternative puzzle for forcing you to do your second run through. But don't worry, if you're going to complete the game, you get to do multiple run throughs.
Well, it makes sense, especially if you start kind of missing things. Like, now that I'm looking through the achievement list, I realize there's some things I should have done in my first playthrough when I got to them, but that's what the second one's for. I won't give any spoilers, but yeah, there's definitely things that you may want to look at the achievement so that you have kind of a general idea of what you're looking to do as you play through the game. Or if not, make sure you look at them before you make the second playthrough.
Yeah, and as I was complaining with Smrnov about, you have to, if you're going to get the last achievement. So the one achievement I don't have in the game is choose well, which is play through the game again and make all different choices. So this one has I guess there was, like, when I did, because I did actually do both playthroughs. Unfortunately, I did not do it in the same sitting. I had stomped my console, played Dead Rising 2, came back to this. So the achievement will not pop. You have to do it either in one sitting or with at least your game and state. You can't basically quit out of the game ever. I'm sure you can leave your Xbox turned off in suspended state, but you can't quit the game between the two. You mean
after you start? Oh, well, here's a question. What if you loaded the game using, like, the continue that just kind of throws you at the far end of the first playthrough?
I don't know, because of the counter. I don't know how the counter necessarily works. So Smrnov did it, but he did it in one complete sitting. I did not do it in one complete sitting, and the achievement didn't lock. And if you look at the solutions on it, that sounds kind of the general consensus. You can't quit the game if you're going to get the thing for doing the choices. Now, I don't know. Did the choices really make you feel? I guess that kind of gave me more of almost a telltale feel to the game. I could actually have some dialogue, and the future of my story will be impacted by how I decided to be.
You can think that. However, having clicked different choices, I can assure you the dialogue does not change. Or if it does, it's one different line. You literally miss nothing.
Well, no. At the end boss fight, there's...
Oh, there's something for the choices you made?
I guess. There's some story related where it's like, oh, we kind of segued back to that poor choice or good choice you made at the beginning of the game. Again, I don't think it impact, because I play the games on mute and try to run through them as fast as humanly possible. I can't remember if the boss fight was harder on the hard run through because of I did the bad choices on that run through, or if it was just hard, or if it was 3-4 hours later, so I just forgot how the boss fight was before. But I mean, yeah, I guess the choices made minimal. It's different. They haven't done it before, but I don't know. I hate when it's trying to make an arc choice and there's no real arc. There's no difference.
Yeah, that's the biggest bummer is like when they present you with what you hope is going to be something that will give you a little more control over the story, only to realize that there's nothing really behind it.
Yeah. I mean, the puzzles themselves, I think, except you can tell the audience the one you're at, because I've already done that one twice, which it is an infuriating puzzle, but.
Yeah, I would recommend not doing it after being up all day long. Yeah. You'll discover there's one particular puzzle that makes you spin colored stones around, and it's just mind-numbingly annoying if you accidentally build it the wrong way first, and then realizing what you've done, I'm like, I'm just going to bed.
Yeah. If you quit out and go back to it, is it left where you had it, or does it just reset?
I haven't come back to it yet, so I couldn't tell you.
I could only imagine, because if you built that backwards, it takes like a 10-minute puzzle, even if you do it the right way.
I know.
It's catching you like I guess yeah, that stinks.
Oh well, yeah. It is what it is. So yeah, basically, to give you a little more story for like the start of it is there's a sorcerer who apparently has an old lover of sorts that a friend of yours looks similar to. We kind of touched on this, and decides to try to kill you and abduct her because that's what evil sorcerers do. They abduct people, and then it is up to you to rescue Jenny. Jenny is who got abducted.
Yeah. And you find that through the story, much like that, people that obsess about magic and their loved ones die, they go, oh, I can use magic to bring them back. But really, there is no bringing back the dead. The dead are dead for a reason. Sorry, Fream. No zombies. And, well, actually, I don't know. I guess there are zombies if it's the undead in the mirrors. But it's that you have to enjoy your time with others while you are here with them. If there's a moral from that.
Wow,
thing.
A moral in a game.
I guess, yeah. But yeah, sorcerer's bad and people get lied to because they want to believe things like, oh, you can bring back the dead with magic. And then it's like, yeah, it's an evil sorcerer. I mean, again, don't want to give away any spoilers, but I'm not sure if anybody is going to sit there and be like, oh man, you ruined it for me. Thanks for nothing.
What? That was a sorcerer?
There's a story? Yeah.
As far as the actual game goes, though, I mean, like the puzzles that I've completed, before I got stuck on this silly marble thing, they're fairly straightforward as usual. They have you bouncing back and forth and back and forth. But I mean, if you've played an Artifacts Mundi game, you're used to backtracking.
Yeah. If you don't own Eventide 1, I think this is actually not that bad to pick up in the bundle because I think you save in 30%.
Oh yeah, you're was it $14.99 for the bundle? Yeah. So yeah, you're saving a couple bucks off the two of them. You're definitely better off grabbing the two. It's not a horrible game by any means. It's just it's starting to suffer from like the fatigue of there's not enough uniqueness in each title.
Yeah.
They usually have a different element, like the different thing that you're collecting or something special with the replay. Like in this one, it's make different choices. But is it enough to kind of really separate it from the others? Probably not. There's not enough of a huge underlying story to make one really stand out over another.
Yeah. So, I mean, for 4 or 5 hours, the 1,000 Gamerscore, if you already know what you're getting into, more of the same. if again you haven't picked up any Artifacts Mundi titles, because this one is bundled with the other one, I think it's a great deal on that. But yeah, I think I mean it's what they're known for. Solid at that, the click puzzles. Again, the one achievement forcing you to do both run-throughs in one sitting, though, it's kind of annoying. Be nice if they fix that.
Just reading through the comments on the achievement, it appears as though your first playthrough can be in any number of chunks, but your second playthrough has to be contiguous from the end of the first.
Ugh.
At least looking at the comments, everyone that says they popped it with separation played the first episode or the first playthrough in bits and then did the entire second playthrough immediately after finishing their first. So plan on a good 4 hours sitting at a minimum to pop this when you make your second run.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything else then?
No, I think we pretty much covered it. Decent game, worth picking up, especially if you grab the bundle, if you haven't got the first one. Other than that, it's your typical Artifacts Mundi game. Pick the one that has the most interesting story to you.
Yep. All right. Till next week. Thanks for listening, guys. Back to you, Fream. Peace.
All right, well, that's fantastic. Like I said, we're going to wrap up the show here. Before we do, I do have a little bit of zombie news. And if anyone's been in the world of... mobile gaming, they know that this, I was going to touch on this eventually, but it looks as though the Walking Dead coming out with another item in their vast repertoire of games. Well, this one is essentially going to be Pokemon Go. And if you've listened to the show, you know I still play Pokemon Go. I'm quite a fan. I don't go crazy on it, but I enjoy collecting the Pokemon. And this one is it's a Walking Dead game called Our World, which apparently is going to be some type of augmented reality type game. Now, you can watch the intro video. I can put a link to it in the show notes here. It's not, I mean, it's just like the Pokemon Go one where it's like really cinematic and they, it kind of gives you a taste of like, these are the concepts we're working with, but no actual gameplay. So I don't know exactly how that's going to play out. In my head, I can see it going two ways, right? Like, I mean, I feel like it's going to be more combat-based, but, like, are we going around, like, trying to catch the zombies? I don't think so. I think it's more of, like, fighting zombies and things, but, I'm really nervous about the pay-to-win part of this, or just what the monetization is going to be, similar to Pokemon Go, like, hey, you're going to run out of bullets really fast, and then, like, can you get eaten? What happens when, like Pokemon, when I run out of Pokeballs, like I have to go, to hit some stops or something, or pay. Now, in The Walking Dead, if I run out of bullets, like, do I just get eaten and then I can't play for the rest of the day? Again, really interested about what this gameplay stuff's going to be, but it's going to be an augmented reality game, and so you can use your camera, look around the world. I think probably the idea is, hey, there's zombies here. Maybe there's some items around you that either they can either digitize things in, or maybe they could take some concepts in the immediate area that you can use in your attacks. I don't know. So this the studio is called Next Games. It's a Finnish studio. They'd made the Walking Dead No Man's Land mobile game, which is kind of just like it's kind of like a base building type sim game with like some combat elements to it. Not turn-based combat elements. It's not great. I played it a little bit. Again, it's one of those time-dependent games, and so I was like, well, my time is too valuable, so I'm done. Thanks. So, you get your taster for, like, the first 2 or 3 hours. You can move pretty quick through things, and then it just comes to a grinding halt. Again, we'll see. I'm very, very curious about what The Walking Dead Our World is going to be. It's going to be on iOS and Android, so I definitely would get my hands on it. Hopefully at the same time. I hate it when it goes to iOS first. That's a big, obnoxious pain in the butt, but we'll see. So there you go, zombie news for the week, and really that's going to be it for the show. I want to thank everybody who listened and downloaded our shows over the past. It's been absolutely wonderful, and with August in our rearview mirror now. I want to thank all the patrons out there. You guys are what makes this show possible. Thank you so much for supporting us and letting us do this, letting us run these contests and have fun talking to the community. Keep your eyes on the patron page, the Patreon page for enhanced rewards, things to keep encouraging you to donate and just really expand what we're offering to you guys as we continue to get more comfortable as a show with having Tarragon departing and just trying to understand what our limitations are with this crew that we have. If monetarily is too much of an ask, which it is, I totally understand. Again, nothing's expected. Everything is appreciated. You guys are amazing. But if you don't want to take that next step and you want to support us for free, you can do it via reviews. Probably the best place is iTunes, but really anywhere you can do reviews or spread the word through social media or just telling your friends and getting other people to download and listen to the show. And hopefully they enjoy it. Hopefully they like what we talk about. And that helps grow the show, and it's totally free. So whatever you guys end up doing, we would love if you continue to pass the word along. That's just help our show grow. It would be amazing. Our website, of course, z2z.com. There you can find show notes, credits, links, things that we talk about here on the show. Our forums, forum.z2z.com, is a wonderful place for all the contests, so head over there. And you can reach us in a ton of different ways. Twitter is probably the best, at Z2Z, Z-E-D-T-O-Z-E-D. But you can also email us, contact@z2z.com. Thanks, everyone, for who helped me make this show. And so on behalf of Proulx, Smrnov, Randy, this has been Brandon. And to all of you achievement hunters and Gamerscore junkies out there, thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next episode. Hey, it's time for the community roundup real quick here. Always start with the trueachievements.com contests, the Great True Achievements Store Challenge, GTASE. We have just wrapped up period 34. And as far as teams go, 26 teams remaining. We still have the Punching Kangaroos and Big Willie 4.0. Congrats, you guys, for trucking on. That is amazing. And as far as the individual side goes, we're down to 53 individuals. Oriole 2682, redemption denied, and we unfortunately lost Tatey after an amazing tear of those high scoring points. Just couldn't pull it out this last week. Likely had things come up, so that's a huge bummer, man. You were killing it, and now you are eliminated. So Tatey's out, but Oriole and redemption still in. So keep good luck on the rest of the contest there for you, gentlemen. The random to-do lists are up. So we started our September mini campaign here, our 2017 third trimester. We're going to do a 4-month mini competition. So again, same things that happen. You get your 25 achievements each month. We'll do a 4-month cumulative total. So add them all up over the course of 4 months. But really, we're giving away prizes every month. So just a single unlock gets you an entry into the prize pool. Things that we've implemented, we have a minimum achievements requirements. You need at least 1,000 locked achievements, things that you can still earn. We also have a limit on the points. So our point system is the ratio turned into a whole integer. So a 1.0 ratio is worth 100 points. A 2.0 ratio is worth 200 points, et cetera, et cetera. And so we have a hard cap at 6,500 points. So when it runs your little scan and it comes out with a number greater than 6,500, it'll re-roll it. Now, if you have too many high ratio achievements, it'll spit back and say, yeah, we can't do this. We're running it a bunch of times and it's timing out, meaning you need to fix your list. And so we'll let you know if that ever comes up. But I've been watching the forums. We have a ton of new signups. I'm so happy you guys jumped on board. I think you'll enjoy it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited. I like my list. I've made some great progress so far, and I'm only 4 days in, so I'm super happy about that. I don't have any delusions about finishing it, of course. That's well above my pay grade, but just chipping away here at all the little bits and bobs I can do. So yeah, keep an eye out for any other rule tweaks we do, any other modifications. They won't affect the current month if we do make any additions or modifications. So September's locked in, right? The rules are what the rules are. If we make any changes, we'll let you know before October. But this is going to be it till January, and then in January we're going to run a similarly competition. But I think we're adding a few extra wrinkles and improvements that we're just Tarragon is still putting some coding and things together for. So just keep your eyes out for that. It will be awesome. As far as a community challenge in September, sports is your whole life, just sports. You check the forums. That's probably the best place for this one because really the easy ones are the easy ones. I can tell you, big game release coming out this week. I'm super excited for. I know you hear me talk about it on the show all the time, right? NBA 2K18, the Prelude. Woo! That'll count for the sports thing. I'm get my 1,000 gamer score in that real quick. Play through, sim a bunch of. I hope it's the same as last year's. Man, I really do. Just simming a bunch of games for 1,000 TA or 1,000 gamer score would be amazing. So sports games. There are some very obvious ones, and there are some not so obvious ones. So check the forums about what I'm allowing and not allowing. We had I mentioned in the forums, a deep discussion about what exactly counts as a sport, because, some people will argue one way and some people argue the other. And you catch me on a good day, and I'll switch how I feel, depending on, how the wind blows. So what I'm typing in is what's locked in. So take a look at the forums, forum.z2z.com. That's where you can find any of the rules for really all the contests, as well as post any of your entries into the contest. Let us know what you've been working on. One thing I forgot to mention about TA, it was Leapfrog. It's not over yet. It is not done yet. We still have 43 people as of recording. This is September 4th that I'm recording this. And we are now looking at 5 achievements per day, each of which are over a 7.6 ratio. That is insanity. That is absolute insanity. I still have one friend in the competition, so congratulations, Facial LaFleur. You have survived to this point. At least you were one of the last 43. And we just had of the 7 from last week, the 6 that were eliminated, we had Marky Behoy 89, B. Smiddle and Stushnikin on August 29th. Ben L 72 made it to August 30th. And the brothers Oz Bunny Boy and R56 Cooper S11 on August 31st. Those were some amazing runs, guys. So let's all just focus and cheer on Facial LaFleur and see what he can end up doing this time around. Gamertag challenge for the month of September is Sea Monkey Powder, a nice 15-letter random set there. Good luck on getting those. And the Mocos is up for September. That seems odd. And you're looking for achievements that do not end in a 0 or a 5. So those weird achievements that everybody hates when it goofs up their gamer score, or, well, some people hate, some people just don't even care. But if you can find them, those give you entries into the Mocos for September. The final thing I want to mention is Discord. Come visit me over at my Discord channel, Freamhole. Discord.me/Freamhole, FREAMWHOLE. That is a little private server I have set up. That link I just told you, though, is good for anyone to get invited and join us. It's a nice it's a little community that we have going. A great little spot to set up some real friendly boosting sessions. We're currently, we just finished Titanfall, like you heard on the show, and moving into Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare. That's starting on September 14th. We took a week off this week. So September 14th, I'm doing 360. There's also an Xbox One version. I will, once I'm done with the 360, I will move to the Xbox One version and just try to finish those games out. We're still doing some Halo action. There's some Gears of War's in there, Rocket League's in there. There's a bunch of chatter about clicker heroes, even though it's single player stuff. You people are ridiculous on that game. Anyway, and if you can't find anything, we've got a generic LFG. I know with the random to-do lists, I had a bunch of people say, "Hey, I'm looking for someone in Burnout Revenge," or "I'm looking for somebody in this game," or "I'm looking for somebody here." Hey, let's quick trade wins and Killer Instinct for the Leapfrog. Really, all of that stuff works, and all of it is a great opportunity for people to help each other out. So that's it for Community Roundup. Let's, next show I'll announce winners. I say that now. The plan is to announce winners for the month, so make sure if you're here this one that you get your entries into the forum so we know to look you up, and I can shut it down when I go to record contest winners to make sure that I lock you in for your entries. And random.org will hook you up with some goodies. If not, well, keep chipping away, keep adding achievements. We hope to be able to award you a prize down the road if it's not this month. So with that, I'm going to take off. I got some Diablo to play. We'll see you guys later. Have a good one.